show, MLB Network Radio, will join us at 2:30. Jeff Fletcher has spent a long time covering the Angels. Now, they're of particular interest because, of course, Albert Pujols is reportedly interviewing with the Padres today. So Jeff Fletcher will join us later in the show. We'll talk Aztecs and Fresno State, a big game Saturday, with the voice of Fresno State, Paul Leffler, who will join us coming up at 5:30. But I think it was, I don't know if I've ever started the show by shouting out Ben Fadden at Talking Friars, but I'm going to do that right now.
You're giving him a shout out?
I think it was Ben Fadden that had this. I found this really unique when he said, "Happy Albert Pujols applying to be manager day," or whatever it was. Like,
I think it was happy Albert Pujols interviewing for the Padres managerial job day.
So that's where we are. Pujols interviewing. Now, we also received word, Jim, within the last handful of minutes or whenever it was this afternoon, that Kurt Suzuki, who became Angels manager, is getting a one-year deal. And remember, earlier in the week, we talked about, well, what was going on with the Angels and Pujols, and why did that not work out? Well, maybe there's your reason why it didn't work out with Pujols. So the Angels give Kurt Suzuki a one-year deal. It's almost unheard of. Obviously, the Padres would give anyone more than a one-year deal moving forward, whether it's Pujols or whomever else, right?
We'll give you a half-year deal.
I've never heard of a one-year deal, to be honest with you.
One-year deal says, hey, if you don't perform, you're out.
On like May 28th.
Yeah. There is
nothing.
Zero job security there, like at all. Rarely do you ever see that with a first-time manager. Hey, we're giving you a one-year deal.
What did the dude who just came over from Tennessee that you had in the update,
Tony Vitello,
what did he get from the Giants in terms of like security?
Years?
Length? Yeah, is that being reported?
I don't think it's been reported.
It can't be 2 years. It's got to be more than a couple of years, right?
Well, here's the thing with Tony Vitello is he's actually taking a pay cut, because he was making over $3 million at Tennessee. His job there was as secure as it gets.
He could have been there for the rest of his career, obviously.
And everybody thought he was going to be there for the rest of his career. Won a national championship, has the #1 recruiting class year in and year out. The tradition there, he could do whatever he wants with the program. It's his, right? And he chose to go to the big leagues for less money. My guess is it's got to be at least like a 3-year deal. There's no way you're jumping ship from a pretty cake job to take anything less than 3-4 year deal.
But think about that. Think about what we've just said. Suzuki is a very unique deal in the terms of it being 1 year, its length.
Yeah.
Vitello is unique because there's not an example in modern baseball history of someone going from coaching in college to managing in the major leagues without any professional baseball experience. None. So maybe it's a hit, maybe it's a miss. And then there's the Padres. I mean, to be honest with you, the Pujols thing is unconventional. If they end up hiring Albert Pujols, we didn't think this was possible 1 year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Like your last two managers, Bob Melvin, veteran, credible manager. Obviously, Mike Schilt, veteran manager who had success in St. Louis. If you hire Albert Pujols, like it's a little unique. There's not a lot of examples of a player of his caliber. We said earlier this week, there might not be an example of a player of his caliber ever managing in the major league. So it's a little bit out of left field.
A little bit.
Maybe it's more than a little bit, honestly.
I'm thinking of former players that have done a lot in their big league careers that became successful big league managers.
Yeah, successful is the key word.
Yeah, because there have been managers that have had good careers that fizzled out and did nothing. More often than not, the guys that have really successful baseball careers
are not the best.
They don't want to be managers.
A, they don't want to be managers, and B, if they are managers, they don't have lengthy managerial careers.
You get like the backup catchers and the guys that
journeyman, utility infielder,
played for 7 teams in 10 years,
or never made the major leagues.
Right?
Or maybe was they were a professional baseball player, but never made the major leagues.
Hey, look, Mike Schilt never played.
He never played
1 inning. Never had played 1 pitch in
not professionally
professional baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And he was pretty successful as a manager. Now he'll probably never manage again, but that's still up in the air.
Yep.
Albert Pujols at least has managed like the Dominican team, winter ball. Like he has managing, credentials.
Yep.
It's not like he's just sitting there on his couch or he's broadcasting the games on Spanish like Carlos Hernandez for the team. You hear about that story?
I did, yeah.
I mean, that would just be the all-time. Hey,
what was the? It's like, hey, they haven't reached out, but I would like them to reach out to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't typically work that way.
That would just be so Padres. Hey, this is nothing against Carlos Hernandez, but if they were to hire, the headline would be Padres hire Spanish broadcaster to be their next manager. What?
Yeah.
It all comes back, I think, to Albert Pujols. For me, it does. I know when we talked to Darren, he was like, why don't you guys pump the brakes a little bit? Okay. But of all the candidates that are out there, show me someone better. Now, again, you can't tell me that in the here and now because we don't know. We don't know if Ruben Niebla would be a better manager than Albert Pujols. We don't know if Brian Esposito would be a better manager than Albert Pujols, or if Ryan Flaherty or Nick Hundley or whatever other, first-time guy potentially AJ Preller would hire, would they be better than Albert Pujols? We don't know that. But we also don't know that Albert Pujols, maybe he's like the perfect guy for this job for everything that we've talked about with the dynamic of the team and the players on the team and trying to find somebody to get the most out of those guys.
Here's the problem, and I agree with you. If it was up to me, I'd hire Albert Pujols based on the candidates that I'm aware of. Here's the issue. Are you setting him up to fail? What I mean by that is, no, I don't think they're going 62 and 100. But is what's going to happen what happens with every team unless you win the World Series, which is you get to game 4 of an NLDS and you've got a 2-1 lead and you make the quote-unquote wrong decision with your bullpen and Pujols screwed it up. How could they do that? We knew this would happen. He's a first-time manager. He doesn't have the...
Just like Dan Wilson for the Mariners the other night.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Aren't they all set up to be in that spot? That aren't you basically asking for him to make the wrong decision? Like, his Pujols going to be the puppeteer pulling all the right strings with his moves in a postseason series to outmaneuver or outmanage someone?
I'll say this. Like, is there a perfect manager out there? No. You know how long it took Dave Roberts to get over that hump and finally win a legit World Series?
Yeah.
Yeah. It took a long time.
Yep.
And even to win his first legitimate World Series, they had to come back in a series down 2-1 on the road.
And Dodger fans wanted him gone time and time again.
And if the Dodgers lost that series, Dave Roberts is probably fired.
Maybe. Potentially, yeah.
So
that's on the Padres.
It's on the Padres.
Right.
And they're about to win their second World Series in a row. So there's nobody that's perfect out there. Everyone's going to make mistakes. I'm not saying that whoever they hire, they need to be perfect. Like, they hired Ruben Niebla tomorrow. Guess what? He's going to make mistakes. Everybody does. It's about, can this manager get the most out of this team? Can this manager guide this team to a postseason year in and year out? Because you just want as many cracks at the championship as possible. And to make the postseason in baseball, it's difficult, even though now there's more wild card teams that are available for you to get in. But, Albert Pujols, to me, it's not like it's sight unseen. This guy has never managed before. Like, yeah, he has managed before and he's going to manage eventually. It sounds like wherever he lands, if it's not with the Padres, it's somewhere.
Orioles,
yeah. And I just think the dynamic that's at play here in San Diego with the Padres, I think it just makes a lot of sense.
Here's my other concern. The last time he saw the postseason, I kid, he was with the Dodgers and the Cardinals. But remember, in Anaheim, he wasn't spending much time in the postseason. Obviously, he had a lengthy postseason career with the Cardinals and won at the highest level. Here's the thing. It's just like what I say with Preller a lot. Once you get to the postseason, how much of the postseason success or failure are you really putting on the general manager?
We talked about that a lot yesterday.
We don't put a ton on the general manager, right? And also with the manager, I mean, we do put a lot on him. I'm not sure what you said. But, like, do you put more of it on the manager in the postseason, or does it still boil down to everything that we talk about? If Manny goes 1 for 11, that's not Mike Schilt's fault.
No, it's the players.
Yeah, so, like, if they get to the postseason and the players perform to their abilities, and maybe Pujols gets that out of them, and Schilt was unable to do that, then, it is, again, a player's game. Like, once you get there, it is a player's game. And, yes, every move is magnified. And if you make the wrong one, it could be costly in your season, could come to an end, but it's a player's game. And the reason they didn't move on this year was not Mike Schilt. It was Yu Darvish. You know what I mean? That's why.
But there are moments, like I talked a lot about the Mariners game yesterday and how Dan Wilson, he's going to get a lot of heat.
Absolutely.
For game 7. Why? Because he went by the book instead of realizing, oh crap, it's game 7. throw everything I've done out the window. The unconventional stuff, like I got to be unconventional here. I can't just go by the book and put in a guy that's been in there all year long in a situation. This is not a Tuesday in July. It's game 7 of the ALCS.
Fair.
So in that situation, the manager plays a huge role. Like he should have gone to Munoz. Instead, he went to Bizzardo, and it backfired, and they're not going to the World Series.
Pretty big mistake.
Massive mistake on his part. It's going to haunt Mariners fans forever, and it probably will haunt Dan Wilson forever. So that's where the manager plays a big role, is the managing of the bullpen. We go back to 2022 because what happened in game 7 reminded me a lot of what happened in game 5 when Bob Melvin didn't go to Josh Hader and he went to Robert Suarez. Now, there were things at play there that
factors,
Josh Hader wouldn't go more than 3 outs, but still it's kind of the same thing.
But I guess it boils down to the point I was trying to make 5 minutes ago. Will Pujols do better?
We don't know.
Of course we don't. I mean, and Dave Roberts has had times where he's failed the Dodgers over the years. There's been other times where maybe, like you said, the more times you just have a ticket to the dance, there at one point you're just going to break through, regardless of who your manager is.
I just see Albert Pujols, 1, a leader of men. 2, the credentials are they speak for themselves. 3, he wants to be a manager. It's not like the Padres are going to Albert Pujols when Pujols is playing golf and it's like, hey, have you thought about managing before? Like, oh, that's interesting. Like, no, it sounds like Albert Pujols wants to become a manager. The guys respect the hell out of him. How could you not? He's not going to get bullied around by Dave Roberts or anybody, right? He might get out managed sometimes for sure, but this guy has accomplished it all. And I think that if he really wants to do this, and if he is committed, and the values and ideas of the Padres organization align with what Albert Pujols wants to be as a manager, and those 2 things align up, I just look at him as the guy.
What if he wants his own pitching coach? Stay with us. That's next. Plus, coming up at 2:30, Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. Albert Pujols, will he be the next manager of the San Diego Padres? And even if he is, how long will he be in the chair? John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, listen for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream, SeaWorld San Diego. This year, new horrors awaken. 5 haunted houses, 8 terrifying scare zones, hidden speakeasies, the shrills of coasters after dark every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, now through November 2nd. Halloween fun for the whole family for a limited time. Kids go free with a paid adult ticket. Visit SeaWorldSanDiego.com for more information. Which house will you go in? Will you go in the Pujols managerial candidate house or Niebla managerial house? Is it a deal breaker if he doesn't want Ruben Niebla? Brent shaking his head, yes. There was a report when he was being considered by the Angels that he wanted longtime Dodgers starter Ramon Martinez to be his pitching coach. I'm just asking the question. I don't know if he'd want to work with him or not. Niebla's under contract.
Yeah.
Would it be a deal breaker, though, if he said, yeah, I would love to manage this team. We align on that 3-year deal, and I want to bring in Ramon Martinez?
I mean, I guess. Yeah.
Seems like that, right?
And if that's the case, then you just hire Ruben Niebla. Like, don't make this harder than it needs to be. If Albert Pujols comes in here and is like, yeah, I want my own guys.
Exactly. Like,
which
that's how it works.
Most managers do that, which I don't blame them at all. They want their own guys. I'd bet you a big reason why the coaching staff hated Mike Schilt. A lot of them weren't Mike Schilt guys.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know?
I mean, shoot, there were hires made before Schilt.
Well,
Niebla's a hire before Schilt.
Absolutely. Yeah. Niebla was a hire before Melvin. Niebla,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Niebla was the very first guy that was hired. He was hired before Melvin got hired.
So he's now 4 seasons in.
Yeah.
Highly regarded. Pitching staff has been very successful.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then you move on from Albert and you hire Niebla.
What about the argument that if you hired Niebla, he's no longer the pitching coach? Now they have Ben Fritz, who's a highly sought after bullpen coach. He could be a pitching coach in the major leagues. Do you feel like it's like when someone goes from play caller to coach? Well, hold on. You were a good play caller. Are you a good coach? Head coach, I'm talking about.
Yeah, but they still call the plays.
Not all of them. You're right. Sean Lewis does. But there's a lot of examples, especially like how many head coaches in the NFL call plays?
Good amount.
How many head coaches in college football call plays? Not a ton. Not a ton.
That's different, though.
It is different. I agree. But would you agree that if Niebla was a head coach, he's not watching every bullpen?
No.
Like he's not working with every pitcher in the same manner in which he was previously.
No, but at least he still will be in the organization to offer his expertise.
Yeah. That's true.
You know, and work with pitchers.
Yeah. I'll give you the wasn't Sean Lewis last year criticized for being both a head coach and a play caller? Didn't some people, not us, didn't some people say he should give up his play calling duties because there's so much more involved to be a head coach? Now, to his credit, he's the head coach this year. He's the play caller this year. Yeah. 5-1. You know, so, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, how many examples are there of pitching coaches becoming managers? Not as many as former bench coaches becoming managers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Again, it's that unconventional. I think Pujols, unconventional. I think Melvin, conventional when they hired him.
Yeah, I do think though, whoever they do hire needs to have a big say in their coaching staff.
I agree with that.
They can't let this thing be run by AJ because it's backfired multiple times.
So just hire Pujols, bring in his guys, but keep Niebla would be the best case scenario.
Like take him out to dinner, Albert and Ruben. Like, hey guys, become best friends.
Right.
You know, like what do you guys need?
I mean, I don't see why Pujols wouldn't want a pitching coach like Ruben Niebla. But then again, because of relationships, you may have a better relationship with someone else that you think can do a better job.
Yeah. So I don't know. And maybe does Ruben want to stay? Like, what if Ruben really wanted to be the manager and they pass on Ruben and go with Albert Pujols, but want Ruben to stay as the pitching coach?
And he's like, I'm good.
Maybe he doesn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to also factor that in as well. Is how important is Ruben Niebla to you as an organization? And if you determine that he is the most important on the coaching staff, then you just make him the manager. Like,
that's a good point.
Like, don't try to fit two things together and it might not work. Like if Albert Pujols comes in here and he goes, look, I want my own guys, and I don't want Ruben. I don't want Victor Rodriguez. I want my own guys. And if you determine as an organization that, yeah, you know what? Sure. Yes. We want you more than anybody. So because we want you, we're willing to go that route. And if they're not willing to do that, or if they don't say that and they don't come to that conclusion,
then hire Niebla.
Then you move off of Pujols and you hire Niebla.
I wonder, I mean, that kind of gives you listen, when AJ Preller hired Niebla before Melvin, that's all you needed to know about what he thought about Ruben Niebla. So does he now think more of Albert Pujols as a manager than Niebla as a pitching coach? Because 4 years ago, he hired Niebla before he hired Bob Melvin.
And look, I don't hate the idea of Ruben Niebla as the next manager of this Padres team. I don't. I actually kind of like it.
Right.
I look at Albert Pujols and I'm like, I like that a lot.
But is it the shiny object? Is it winning the press conference? Is it the marketing play?
It's all of that, but it's not. I feel like it's not just that. Like, I feel there's more to it. I feel like there is something there with Albert. Like, I'm trying to find somebody to unlock Fernando Tatis Jr. And I'm trying to find somebody to get Manny, to perform in the postseason. I'm trying to get somebody here that can elevate and lift this team beyond its potential. Like, I'm trying to get this team. I'm trying to find a guy that can do that. And I feel like
Pujols?
I don't know, but I feel like it could be.
It could be.
Like,
right.
I feel pretty good about that than Brian Esposito or Ryan Flaherty. And I could be completely wrong. It could be Ryan Flaherty's the guy to lift these guys up and unlock Fernando Tatis Jr. It could be Brian Esposito that could lift these guys up and unlock, this team's potential and unlock Fernando Tatis Jr. Could be anybody. Could be you. Could be me.
Yeah. Like, how much is,
but I just look at the credentials of Pujols and I'm like, I'll bet on that.
We'll talk more about it. Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio on the other side. His thoughts is Pujols is a potential manager in the major leagues and maybe the next manager of the Padres. And would he make that hire if it was at the expense of the Padres pitching coach, Ruben Niebla? Mike Farron, friend of the show, will join us next. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Lowe's. We'll start in baseball. The National League West has a new manager, not the Padres. It's the Giants. The Giants officially hired Tennessee Vols head coach Tony Vitello. NFL news of the day, Jaden Daniels has been ruled out versus the Chiefs this upcoming weekend. And a full slate of NBA games tonight. The two marquee matchups, Cavs and Knicks, followed by the Spurs and Mavs on ESPN. Lowe's knows you want to spend less time shopping and more time on the job site. Bulk savings on select pro trusted drywall and concrete mixes from Lowe's. You save big and you're always ready for the next job. Lowe's, we help, you save.
It is always great to connect with Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. Of course, the World Series getting underway in just about 48 hours or so. And here in San Diego, the search is on for another manager of the Padres under AJ Preller. Mike, we appreciate you hopping on. Let's just talk about Albert Pujols because there's a lot of discussion and intrigue with the name. I guess just on its face, do you think he would be a good manager and be a good fit specifically with the Padres?
Yeah, so this is, I think, a really fascinating question because the number of former Hall of Famers who've gone on to be big league managers that are successful big league managers is pretty short. In fact, I think you can make a case that, like there were a couple of good years maybe of Yogi Berra and Paul Molitor, and I think I'm missing one in there. Gil Hodges led the Mets to the World Series in 1969, but he was put in the Hall of Fame posthumously. It just doesn't happen all that often. So I've been asking that same question, and I actually asked it of Molitor this morning, and he kind of gave a good answer on, just like understanding what players can do and trying to learn that on your own, as opposed to doing what San Diego's greatest native son outside of Tony Gwynn, Ted Williams, did, which was get frustrated with the way the guys couldn't hit like him because he was Ted Williams. So I think that's one part. And I think the other is that Albert seems to have a really good way of relating to people. He's very chill. He commands a room. He's a presence. He's very smart. And so he seems to have some of the soft science things that you would want in terms of having a manager there who maybe wouldn't just get frustrated with players who aren't be able to perform at the level that he did over the course of his career. And so I think that makes him a pretty intriguing candidate when you start to dig in and know that stuff. That said, I think it's a real long shot that he ends up as the manager of the Padres. I'm not sure that he is the first choice in that group. And really outside of the Angels, it sounds like the interest the Orioles had was a little bit overblown. So this is probably his only chance at it. Maybe he gets it in the end. I mean, he could wow them and he certainly would carry a presence. But I think there are a number of other candidates in that mix that probably would be ahead of him, at least going into the interview in the pecking order. I know he interviewed today.
So of the other candidates, potentially, who do you envision could be a good fit here in San Diego? And if there's a name out there that you haven't heard potentially that you think could also be a good fit here at the Padres?
Yeah, Ryan Flaherty, I think, is the name that's come up a lot. He was obviously the bench coach for the Padres before he went to the Cubs. And, he was a teammate of Manny Machado's in Baltimore. And I think he's a name that is going to be linked to a lot of managerial openings. If not, San Diego, then I think Baltimore's a place that he has a good chance. His name has come up an awful lot. I think the other name that we've heard is probably Ruben Niebla, who we know has done a terrific job as a pitching coach there. I have a lot of respect for Ruben. I love Ruben. My dealings with him, I just think he's a terrific coach and a great dude. And I think he's got the right kind of personality to be able to handle that job. In terms of names that we haven't heard, I'll tell you the name of the guy that has not come up a lot publicly, and maybe it's because his organization does a job of keeping things quiet, and maybe he does too, because I don't think he's the most well-known, is Craig Albernaz, who's the bench coach of Cleveland. And you may be going, who the hell is Craig Albernaz? And I get it. I think that's probably fair. But Albernaz, before he was Stephen Vogt's bench coach the last 2 years in Cleveland, was on staff with the San Francisco Giants at the major league level. Before that, he was a minor league manager and a coach in the Rays organization. And I can tell you that just about everywhere, well, not just about, everywhere he's gone, people say that's a future big league manager. He is Stephen Vogt's closest friend. He is really good at relating to people. He is extremely baseball smart. So that's a name that I would consider in there too, that I just haven't heard his name linked with any of the openings. And quite frankly, I find that surprising because that's a guy who my understanding is could have had the Marlins job last year if he'd wanted it.
It's interesting because the names that you said there would all be first-time managers. So
yes.
What's your thoughts on a first-time manager for a team like the Padres that they're looking to win like right now compared to a team that's rebuilding?
Yeah, I think with a couple of those guys, specifically with Flaherty and with Niebla, they know the dynamics of that clubhouse. And, I know Flaherty hasn't been there in a couple of years, but he's got a pretty good feel for at least the core group of players, right? So I think that makes it a little different because you've already got a lot of ground covered in what a new manager has to do in learning the personnel. So I think it would be less of an issue there. In fact, it might be easier for them than it would be for a more experienced manager. And I don't think that they're guys that don't have experience, at least coaching. Like it's tough. Like I would love to see more minor league managers get opportunities. Morgan Ensberg, who's another San Diego guy, has been a AAA manager for the Rays for the last 3 years now, and was in AA before that, and was in A-ball. He's managed at every level. He's got like 1,200 games, and I don't think that there's anything that happens inside a game that would surprise him as a manager. And I just don't think that he's gotten that opportunity to really interview for those jobs yet. So, yeah, I think that there is something to be said for having experience in the managerial chair, whether it's in the minor leagues or in the big leagues. But really, 90% of that job, or 95%, we focus on the decision making, right? Who's the reliever you pull? Who's the pinch hitter? Where do you play your defense? That kind of stuff. And we make a big deal out of that. But in the end, it comes down to player execution. And 90 to 95% of the job is how you manage people, just like anything else. If you don't want to work for a micromanager, but you want to work for somebody that has your back, has your best interest in mind, is able to have tough conversations with you in a positive manner. I think that's what really matters.
Mike Fair on MLB Network Radio with us right now on John and Jim. It's interesting because you talked about, again, players that have had the success of Albert Pujols as a player. There's not a lot of examples of that type of caliber of a player becoming manager. Then again, there's not a lot of players that have had the success of Albert Pujols. What about pitching coaches that later become managers? I'm thinking about like Buddy Black, John Farrell. There's not like dozens and dozens of pitching coaches that have become managers. What's the track record suggest, or what are the challenges of moving over, 24 inches, so to speak, and going from pitching coach to manager?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the X's and O's part, right? That's what people, especially managing offensive decisions, right? That's where the difference is. I don't really think it's that hard to manage that at this point. I think you understand what the game calls for in most given situations. You view it from the pitching side. You know how that's going to play out. Not to mention, I just think there is better information available for every manager than there was, say 50 years ago. Now, I know it wasn't a pitching coach, but Sparky Anderson earned the nickname Captain Hook because he was into his bullpen early with starters, right? Sparky Anderson understood the third time through the order penalty. He just didn't have the stats to back it up, right? And so I think once you have more information, I don't want to say it makes the job easier, but it certainly points you in the right direction of the decisions. So to me, it's keeping the group together, making sure that everybody's pulling on the same end of the rope, and building relationships. And the good news is, if you're a pitching coach like Ruben Niebla, you already have relationships with all the pitchers and the catchers, right? And so, and listen, he's been there long enough that I guarantee he's got a relationship with Manny Machado. He's got one with Fernando Tatis Jr. He has one with Xander Bogaerts. He has one with Jake Cronenworth, right? He's got the core guys that he knows, and you just take another step forward in that. And I don't think he would change much in terms of personality.
What do you make of what the Giants did today with Tony Vitello?
It is the single most fascinating decision I have, and I mean decision, that I have seen a club make in 25 years of covering Major League Baseball.
Wow.
I am absolutely fascinated. My other job is covering college baseball. And so I have covered a lot of Tony V. And Tony Vitello is an extremely energetic coach with a great background. He's been an assistant to some of the top college coaches in the country. He is the son of a really, really prominent high school baseball and soccer coach in St. Louis. Coaching and baseball is in his blood. But this is unprecedented. We have never seen a coach who had no professional experience, not just as a coach's manager, but as a player either, that has gone from the college ranks directly to the big leagues. Even the ones we have seen who have had experience, Pat Murphy obviously managed in the Padres system for close to 10 years before he was the interim manager there, and then was a bench coach again under Craig Counsell before he got the manager job. When Dick Hauser got the Yankees job in 1980, he had spent a year at Florida State. He spent the 8 previous seasons as the third base coach for the Yankees, and he played 8 years in the big leagues. Bobby Winkles went from ASU to the Angels in 1972 as a coach, and then took over as their manager in 73. Even Branch Rickey, when he left University of Michigan in 1913 to take over the Cardinals, had played 8 years in the big leagues, right? So, this is just not something that we have seen before. I have so many questions that I don't think are going to be answered until we see it go. But he is very charismatic. He's very smart. I hope that it works. But this is the kind of big swing that it really helps if you own a portion of the team and you're running baseball operations to be able to take this kind of swing. Because I think Buster Posey is going to be okay if he doesn't get it right. Yeah. But you're putting a lot into, I would say it's risky, right? It is a risky decision, but I am really interested to see how this plays out in so many ways.
Mike, before you go, is there a world in which, and you've told us before that the variance in baseball, right? It's not the NFL where the best team beats the worst team or the NBA in a 7-game series, but do you see a scenario where Toronto is able to do this, or how much of a long shot is it for Toronto?
The odds on it sound like they're similar to what it was in 2019,
right,
when the Astros were prohibitive favorites and then lost in 7 games to the Nationals. So, I think there's a path. Absolutely. I think that there are similarities between what the Blue Jays do well and what the Brewers did well. And I know that the Brewers offense wasn't very good against the Dodgers. They control the strike zone very well. The thing that Toronto does better is they do it by hitting for power. And they're not that dissimilar from the Astros teams of 2017, 2018, 2019. Now, they're not banging out a trash can to get the signs, as far as we know. But they do make good swing decisions. They put the ball in play, and they put the ball in play hard. And so I think they're going to be a tougher test for the Dodgers pitching staff. The Dodgers bullpen is still the Dodgers bullpen. And while they don't necessarily have absolute monsters on the mound, they do have a pretty good rotation and a bullpen that I think has been better than what people realize. I believe it's been since September 1st that they haven't lost a game in which they've had a lead, or at least hadn't until Game 5 of the ALCS. So that Christian pitching pretty well overall. So, I think there's a chance. I think the series definitely makes its way back to Toronto for a Game 6 and potentially a Game 7. I think the Dodgers are still the favorites, but I absolutely can see a path where Toronto doesn't just make it interesting, but ends up winning the World Series.
Final one, Mike. That was the greatest game you've ever seen from Ohtani, right? The best game you've ever seen any player?
I mean, how many high school guys have 10 strikeout, 3 homer games?
Not a lot.
Right? I don't think that this. I was working with Lance Lynn this week, and I was like, "You never had a high school game like that." He said, "Hey, I punched out 10 and over twice." 3 homers, that's what he did was insane. And then factor in the fact that they won the pennant on top of it, right? It's just, I mean, we may never see another performance like that again. The only thing I can think that comes close to that performance that he put up was when he, hit 50 and stole his 50th base in the same game and did 3 homers and knocked in 10 against Miami last year. That guy's, he's different, and man, are we fortunate to get to see him.
Yeah, not as fortunate in San Diego, but the point's a valid one. Mike, we appreciate you hopping on. Enjoy the World Series. Thanks for taking time for us.
You too. We'll talk soon.
Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. We'll react to that. Plus some names to keep an eye on this offseason involving the San Diego Padres. Here until 6 p.m. Don't go anywhere. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So two things. One, again, we talked about this on Monday. Jim, normally, are you the most eloquent speaker in American history? I wouldn't necessarily paint you with that brush.
I wouldn't either.
Right? Like when I think of like great American orators, you know what that means? Speakers.
Yes.
again, are you in the top 25? Maybe not.
Like,
but
who's the best broadcaster in your opinion? Like in all sports across all platforms?
It's so subjective. And I think Mike Tirico is very good.
I'm no Mike Tirico.
No, you're not. But you're not a play-by-play guy.
I'm no Noah Eagle.
Yeah, you're not. But the thing with sports talk is a lot. If you're just you, it's all good. It doesn't matter. Like you can be you. But the reason I bring it up is normally
I'm struggling.
Yeah, normally you're struggling. Today you've been struggling for like 2 weeks. You got sick like a week ago.
Yeah, I'm not.
And I thought you're maybe over the hump.
I feel 100% fine. Right?
You don't sound it.
I know. Well, I'm getting to that point. So last week, Thursday hit. I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel good. And then,
what did you do? An hour? I never got the story here. You did an hour on Wednesday or Thursday of the show.
Yeah, Thursday. Did an hour Thursday.
And then what did you do? I've never done that in my career. So you're an hour into a show and you're like, I'm out?
No, I talked to our boss before the show. And I said, hey, look, my voice is not great right
You said
now.
you had a pitch count. Like I can give you 30 pitches, but I'm not going. I'm Blake Snell.
My arm isn't feeling great today.
I got 9 outs.
Like I'll give you what I can, right? But have the bullpen ready to go.
Who was the bullpen? Rob Parker?
No, thank goodness. It was Fox Sports Radio.
Okay.
But I was like, hey, look, because it was like a last minute thing. Because I woke up and I was like, this does not feel good.
Right.
So start the show. And within the first minute, I think I gave Brent a look like, I can't do this.
I need to hear some of that show.
Because I told him during the break, I go, yeah, I'm done. I can't do it.
You said at the end of the 2:00 hour, I'm out.
I said it at 2:10. Because I knew.
It's a bad feeling.
I knew.
It's a bad feeling.
That I couldn't go until 6.
What if someone said for $100,000?
Then I would have gone till 6. Yeah. But here's the thing.
Right.
No one was offering me $100,000 to do that.
Correct. What if someone offered you $100? Probably not, right?
Probably not.
It was too hard.
I just knew that it just wasn't going to work.
Would you have had a voice? Like, did you have a voice that day?
No, my voice was going.
It was going. That's the worst.
And then I wake up Friday morning and I'm like, oh, I'm sick. And it turned into like a 48 hour head cold.
No, it's turned into
but
a week.
Here's the thing. All the mucus, after you're sick, that lingering cough and the lingering mucus, and you're like, just get out of my system.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of it. I'm at that stage right now.
Did you see a doctor? Did you get medicine? Did you drink tea?
I did not see a doctor.
Okay.
I drank medicine.
You drank medicine? Like you've had whatever?
Well, yeah. It's a long story.
It's a long story. Okay.
You not know this about me?
You don't take medicine?
I can't swallow.
Oh, you can't swallow pills. Yeah, but there's things you can drink.
That's what I did. I drank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It's just double the dosage.
Does Aaron have to put it in a treat like your Bentley or something?
Well,
yeah, what do you mean you can't swallow
It doesn't work like that. They're
I can't deal with you.
If we brought Aaron on and asked her about, hey, tell us about how Jim can't swallow pills, yeah, it'd be bad.
Even the smallest little pill?
Yeah. I've swallowed pills before.
Congrats.
But it's not been easy for me. It's been very difficult. So anyway,
I really can't deal with you.
I've taken medicine. I've drank tea, all that stuff.
At least it's not as bad, John, because besides his voice, replace the constant sneezing with coughing. Instead of sneezing every 10 seconds, he would cough every 30 seconds. The cough button got a definite workout that day.
Yeah, my finger was just right on the cough button right here.
I need to hear that show. Is that in the iHeartRadio app, that hour?
No. I can get it if you want to hear it for personal fun.
It is on YouTube.
You can watch me suffering.
Oh my gosh. I need to see that. There are some names that are going to be posted in Japan that are coming over to Major League Baseball. Now, last year, I want to say most off seasons, we spend the entire off season dreaming of a player that doesn't end up in San Diego, correct? Roki, Seiya Suzuki, Shohei Ohtani. How many off seasons over the last 5 years have we been maybe Ohtani's going to come?
Every off season.
Maybe Seiya Suzuki's going to come.
Murakami?
Excuse me?
I think that's the first baseman. We talked about him when you were gone.
Yeah, Munetaka Murakami.
Murakami, yeah.
What do you think of Kasuma Okamoto?
I like him a lot.
What do you like most about Okamoto?
I like the fact that he has some pop in his bat.
Yeah, you like that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Give me some pop. Give me some pop. I need some pop.
We can't get into these names yet, but there'll be a name or two that will emerge. And the question for me becomes, can they actually land one of these players that is an impactful piece? Because they never do.
The answer is no.
Now, they finish in second a lot. They do sushi at Manny's house.
Yeah.
They throw bullpens in the outfield.
Right. But as long as Yu Darvish is a part of this team, good luck.
He's like, yeah, you don't want to come here.
The worst recruiter possible. Sorry, you. Love you, but you can't recruit with crap.
All right. Maybe we'll get more into some of these names over the course of the next couple of hours, but still to come here today, we've got Jeff Fletcher, who's covered the Angels for a long time for the OC Register. His thoughts on Albert Pujols and his candidacy here in San Diego. Paul Leffler will join the show, the voice of Fresno State, coming up as well. We've got a giveaway for you today, recapping night 1 in the NBA as well. Here until 6 p.m., Sean and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start in baseball today. The Giants officially hired Tennessee head coach Tony Vitello to be the next manager of the Giants. NFL news of the day, Jaden Daniels has been ruled out versus the Chiefs this weekend. And NBA tonight, full slate of games with the primetime games on ESPN being the Cavs versus Knicks, followed by Spurs and Mavs. Tonight, also the first night of Inside the NBA on ESPN as well. That follows Spurs and Mavericks. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $125 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends November 1st. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of John and Jim. We're here until 6 p.m. We do have a giveaway for you, a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream. We'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour. Jeff Fletcher covers the Angels, which means he's covered Albert Pujols. He'll join us at 5 p.m. Paul Leffler, voice of Fresno State, Aztecs Bulldogs coming up Saturday, huge game. He'll join us at 5:30. 2 things. We can get your calls as well, 877-767-4760. Inside the NBA that you just referenced?
Yeah.
Is that just post? Is it post game or is it pregame and post?
Well, Inside the NBA, the one that
why can't you talk? I'm going to talk to myself. Hey, John, is Inside the NBA pre and post? Oh my gosh. Here's the thing. You did the show yesterday solo.
I don't know how. I don't know how.
Were you fine?
I was fine for the most part. But we are watching right now
the NBA.
Inside the NBA, the tip-off on ESPN. Same look, same everything. And they're Inside the NBA is going to follow Mav Spurs.
So Inside the NBA is only post, not pre?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is, I think.
All right, Brand, if there's anything good in the first few minutes,
what's happening?
Grab it and we'll play it back.
Are they calling out their awful ESPN coverage before then?
They just called out. Shaq just called out NBC's coverage yesterday.
Oh, really?
Oh, let me say this because I was home yesterday all day, and I watched the entirety of the NBA on NBC. I mean, the entirety. I'm one of like 3 people in America that did that. I watched the hour-long pregame. I watched the 4-hour game between OKC and Houston. I watched the Warriors and the Lakers. I watched their 4-minute postgame show. The pregame show last night on NBC, after 23 years of not having the NBA, was an abomination. It was awful. It was so bad. Now, Mike Tirico and that crew was really good. Like, Tirico's great. And once they got to like the 30 minutes in and they went more to Tirico, it was good. I've watched a lot of sports and pre's and halves and posts in my life. That was up there among the worst things I've ever watched.
Now, you actually have a different opinion than actually a lot of people out there.
No one said it was good. Who said it was good?
A lot of people said it was like
great. Show me.
All right.
Show me one person that said it was good.
Here we go.
One actual human.
All right.
Not a bot.
No, not a bot.
From like Russia.
You know, worldwide WOB, right?
So how much did they pay him to say whatever you're going to tell me?
You know WOB is, right?
Yeah.
Let me pull this up here. Where is it? Stand by. Because he loved it.
Not possible.
Where is it? All right, here we go. He said this: TNT was entertaining, but different. Its nucleus was the inside crew and their banter. The on-court product always felt secondary. Dating back to the 90s, NBC always prioritized what you're about to see, not what you're going to be talking about after. And then he listed a bunch of stuff that he loved. The Maria pre-recorded sit-down interview with the OKC Big Three, studio analysts of KD trade, the play-by-play crew's analysis of potential strategies, world famous NBA on NBC monologue vignette, the uninterrupted starting lineup introductions.
No, that's all different. Because if you're going to praise Tirico and his play-by-play or the starting lineup introductions, that's fine. I'm talking about the crew, Maria Taylor and the 3 players, Carmelo and whoever else is on that.
Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady.
Watch the first segment.
Yeah, no, we did.
It is the worst thing I've ever seen.
The mics didn't work. I know,
not just the mics. They were deer in headlights.
Well, yeah, deer in headlights when your equipment doesn't work.
And you're like never done it before.
Yeah.
In that setting.
Here's the thing. I think that what Wob was saying there, I agree with from the standpoint of, didn't it feel like bigger last night? Last night, to me, the production value, the pregame production, the in-game production, the announce crew, the graphics, all that, the introduction, the lineups, they did a better job for opening night than they did for any game of the NBA Finals last year by a mile.
Maybe in game. I would agree with you in game, but having watched the entire, I'm telling you, the pregame was awful. And then
it's fine.
And maybe a lot of it was the audio issues. I'm just saying what they were saying was awful.
Well, here's the thing. Whatever they were saying pregame, I rather listen to that than the god awful ESPN pregames with Stephen A. Smith yelling and fair. Bob Myers yelling. And Bob Myers is not there anymore, by the way. And Kendrick Perkins and who's the woman that does it with them? Malika Andrews. Like, no,
that's fair. And it was not. It's like anyone night one. It's not going to be your best. And to compare it to like the Inside the NBA crew is probably not fair. And Mike Tirico is terrific. Fantastic. I'm just saying this hour-long pregame, all being on the court, it left a lot to be desired.
What'd you think of Michael
Jordan, the 2-minute halftime thing?
Yeah,
I thought it was bizarre. Like, I didn't really understand. Were they trying to? Was it like, hey, he's going to be a part of the broadcast, so we need to show him for 2 minutes? Or was it like, hey, he's like, if you're going to have Michael Jordan on and it's night one, have Michael Jordan on.
I wanted more.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was 2 minutes. It was weird.
My issue with it is they made it sound like they interviewed Jordan like last week, and they're just going to keep playing snippets of this interview throughout the season.
Time, yeah,
because like they're like, oh, next Tuesday he's going to tell us his opinions on load management, and it's just like, so he's not actually going to be live during these things. It's just going to be a chopped up interview.
Well, that's Jim's issue with. That's my issue with Inside the NBA. They're like, oh, Inside the NBA is on ESPN, and then Jim gave us the schedule, and it's on like twice before Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So it's like, are you real? Like Michael Jordan coming to the NBA on NBC? Cool. Well, is he really coming to the NBA on NBC, or is he going to be sitting down with Mike Tirico one time and they're airing 2-minute snippets for the next 2 months?
I don't know. But I just thought that even if it,
I agree with that. I would agree. Let's go to the phones. Is there anything insightful from the start of this broadcast?
We can listen to them talk crap about NBC.
Okay, yeah. I would join them in talking crap about NBC. Let's listen in.
Presented by Popeyes.
Ernie.
Yes.
You didn't do it right.
What?
You're supposed to say this is TRON.
TRON?
The real opening night. That's stuff you saw yesterday. No,
come on,
back
man.
in town.
No.
This is the real opening night. Yesterday was still preseason. This is the
preseason. Don't be that way. Don't be that way with our
boys.
Hey, NBC did a great job last night.
No, that was Peacock. That wasn't NBC. Peacock. It was
NBC and Peacock.
This is the real opening night. So don't forget who we are, boys.
That's pretty funny. I love how Chuck was like, no, they did a great job. He's like, no, they didn't. Jim, are you all right?
I'm actually like not.
877-767-4760. I think Dave wants to weigh in on the Padres, not NBA opening night. Dave, you're back with us on John and Jim.
This is great for Jim.
You can carry on for the next 3 hours.
Yeah, there you go. Now that you got me started on the NBA, look, in about 2 weeks, guys, it's all going to be forgotten about. And the NBA will fade into oblivion until after January. So
I mean, I've personally felt that way. That's how I have typically consumed the NBA. Right now, I'm into it, but that's how I typically feel the same way.
Okay,
but carry on.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's get back to Albert Pujols. I've heard all of the pros and of course there's not very many cons. So let me get this straight. Help me out here. So the last two managers, as I recall, the biggest requirement was that they had to get along with AJ, but we're not talking about that with Albert Pujols. So apparently that's disappeared, right?
Getting along with AJ?
Yeah, you gotta. You remember Bob Melvin?
I know, but I mean, how do we? So, are we saying Pujols is a good candidate to get along with AJ, or a bad candidate to get along with AJ?
Well, that's the question. You see, that's what's disappeared out of all of this discussion. So, what I'm hearing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, the biggest
bestest thing about Pujols is that he can take the two prima donnas that are making close to $750 million and somehow motivate them into becoming all-stars. So what I'm suggesting at the point that I'm making here, guys, is that if our prima donnas need to have that, we've got bigger problems than choosing a manager. Our real problems with the Padres are the two guys making the $750 million that can't seem to get out of their own way during a complete season and playing at a high enough level. We shouldn't have to have this discussion with that kind of salary being executed every single year, don't you think?
Dave, here's the thing. I think we agree, and thanks for the call. But I think they have a better chance of changing managers than they do of changing third baseman. Yeah. I mean, they have a better chance of hiring a manager because Mike Schilt left. Fernando Tatis Jr. isn't leaving.
You can't fire Manny Machado.
Yeah, and there's pros and cons of these players. I agree. Machado's had his pros and his cons. Tatis has had his pros and his cons, but they make, like he said, $700 million combined. So that's who you're starting your team with next year. That's how it works.
Yeah. And look, I get the frustration with the whole Fernando Tatis Jr. thing, but it is what it is. Is Fernando, is he annoying right now because you're like, hey man, we need more. We signed you to this $300+ million contract for 14 years with no opt-outs. We need more from you.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody out there that says that Fernando Tatis Jr. had a quote unquote great year, he didn't. Okay,
yeah, I agree with you.
The Silver Sluggers got announced today.
Yep.
Was Toddy on that list?
Who was on that list?
Jake and Manny.
Why is Jake on that list?
I don't know. Not many second basemen that offensively are good.
Apparently, right? He didn't have a great year.
No. So look, the thing here is, I think the key to everything is Fernando for long-term success.
Mm-hmm.
If Toddy's going to be this player for the next 5 years, good luck. No, I just don't see it. Because defensively, fantastic. But offensively, you need more. You can't go out and spend money and go and get big bats like Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso, or Kyle Tucker anymore. You already have the players under contract that are your big bats. Fernando's supposed to be the guy to hit 35 to 40 home runs every year with a 900 OPS. You need to unlock that again. So is it troublesome that you are looking at a manager to try to do that in Albert Pujols to motivate him? A little bit, but you have to deal with what you're dealt. You have to deal with the hand you have.
Yeah.
And so the hand you have is Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado. More so Fernando than Manny because Manny gets his numbers. Fernando's the guy that I'm looking at here. You can't have pouty Fernando. You can't have a Fernando that goes 3.5 months with 4 home runs total. You can't have a Fernando that looks disinterested at times on the field.
Or in game 3 is I was lost at the plate my first 3 plate appearances.
Yeah,
it's bad time for that.
Can't have that. Can't have it.
Yeah, I would agree.
So that's why I'm looking at Pujols.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Again, I think Pujols checks boxes. Does he check all the boxes? I don't know if any of these guys check all the boxes. And he's checking enough boxes for me that I think he's an intriguing candidate. All right, on the other side, STFC wraps up the 1 seed in the Western Conference. What is going on with their marquee player from this past offseason, Chucky Lozano? Will he be appearing in the postseason beginning Sunday or not? We have the latest. Stay with us, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. iHeartRadio has your hookup to hear new music from Bon Jovi before anyone else. The iHeartRadio album preview with Bon Jovi featuring Forever Legendary Edition. Discover never before heard tracks from their new album Forever Legendary Edition before its official release this Friday. You'll also hear an in-depth interview as John Bon Jovi shares the vision, the vibe, and the voice behind their new album. The only way to be a part of this exclusive experience is to listen live tomorrow at 7 on Today's Mix in the free iHeartRadio app. What are you arguing about here in the chat?
I don't even. I don't even know anymore.
Something about Tatis.
Yeah, it's constant troll. Thinks that.
I don't think he's a troll. I think he's a viewer.
Okay. We can have viewers that are trolls. Do we
True.
not? Do we not?
We have sports talk hosts that are.
It's true. But I don't even know. It's about Fernando and trying to, we said he had a okay year last year, but it wasn't anything like special, like not even close.
Right.
He's not even close to one of the best players in the sport.
No.
He's not close to, he should easily be the best player on the team, and he should be one of the best players in baseball, and he's not. He backed in to make the All-Star team. He even thought that he shouldn't be there. He had an awful postseason. He looked lackluster for a lot of the season. He looked disinterested for a lot of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this person's like, why are you complaining? Like, it's a talk show. I give my opinions. We talk about things.
Yeah, I mean, what else can we say?
Yeah, if you're defining this as complaining, man, I don't know what to tell you.
Like, I just pulled up this year's OPS leaders in baseball, right, from Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani and Cal Raleigh, right, the Schwarbers of the world, like the really elite hitters in baseball. You would think Fernando Tatis Jr., he walks a lot, right? He gets credit for it. You'd think he'd be a top 25 OPS guy, right? I mean, he walks a ton. Where is he? What was his OPS this year?
Under 800. I think it was.
He finished under 800?
Or no, maybe it was like 810. I don't even know. It wasn't great.
Oh, maybe I'm looking in the wrong category, actually. I was thinking it's slugging. No, here he is. In OPS, he had the same OPS as Jazz Chisholm, 33rd in baseball. If you went slug,
yeah,
it's going to be way worse, obviously. But again, like you're not paying this guy to be the 50th best player or the 40th best player. You're paying him to be a top 5 player, and he's nowhere near it. He was 59th in slug.
Yeah. Like, fans are blinded by the fact that it's one of your own. Take the goggles off and look at the numbers. Toddy's not even close to a top 15 player in the sport.
Right.
It's just a fact. I'm sorry. Does it hurt your feelings? Maybe, but it's just a fact here. And what we're saying is that needs to be unlocked because he has that potential. We all have seen it. I really hate the talking point of, whoa, we have to adjust our expectations for Fernando. Why? Why do we have to do that? Because he's underperforming? So because he underperforms, I have to change my expectation for him? Like, no. The expectation is you're paid handsomely. You're one of the highest paid players on the team. Other than Manny Machado, you have the second largest contract in Padres franchise history. You got paid $340 million for 14 years. Okay? You're paid to play like one of the best in the game. Now, I see the argument. Like, well, Jim, it has value. I'm not saying that what he did last year doesn't have value. I'm just saying that
he needs to provide more value.
You need to get more from him. And the thing is, we all know it's in there. He knows it's in there. You know how many times after a game he would sulk in his locker because he knows he's better than that, or at least he thinks he's better than that, like every other game. So the reason why I think Albert Pujols makes a lot of sense is look, unlocking Fernando and making him a top 15 player, top 10 player in the sport again. Like, you know how much good it would do for this franchise? It would make life so much easier for everybody involved if Fernando Tatis Jr. finished next year 4th in MVP voting.
I don't know if Albert Pujols can do that, and I don't know if Fernando Tatis Jr. is the player that we fancy him to be. I think that we all have these visions of what he did in 2021 as if that's the player, where the truth is we've seen way more of 2023 and 2024 and 2025, and 2021 in 2026 is a long time ago. I mean, a forever ago in sports. So is that who Tatis is, or is that who Tatis was? That's the question.
Right.
And does Pujols was Tatis out of him? Good luck.
Yeah, I know. It's the $1 million question of like, who really is Fernando Tatis Jr. as a baseball player?
Is he the 3 years we've most recently seen, or the 3 years we saw when he was 19, 20, and 21?
I would tend to lean towards he's the guy that we've seen recently, then he's the guy that we saw in 2021.
Yeah, Dan Zimborski said the best predictor of next year's results are last year's results.
It's like when you start a relationship with somebody and the relationship's great in the beginning, and you're like, I love this person. And over time they change, and you're like,
right.
Where's that person?
Yeah.
Like, I saw that person. Like, where's that person? I fell in love with this version, not the version you are now.
And I listen, his defense is so brilliant, but I've said this before. You don't count on Fernando Tatis Jr. to go over the wall and make 7, home run robberies every year. That's not part of the plan. It's not like, well, he only hit 25, but he robbed 7. So it's really like he hit 32 because he accounted for 7 taken away. And he's not going to rob 7 home runs each and every year. That's just kind of dumb luck. I mean, he's a brilliant defender. But what are the odds the ball was hit right over the wall and he snatched it 3 times in 20 games or whatever it was?
Would you rather have Kyle Schwarber's year or Fernando Tatis Jr.'s year?
It's not close. I mean, I could give you a name. I mean, what's insane is some of these names that you would prefer to have had in this past year that you're like, are you serious? I would have preferred to have like Jeremy Pena, Brent Rooker this past year in terms of like slug.
And we're just talking
impact.
about we're just talking about at the plate. By the way,
plate. The defense thing, man. Are we talking about the Dodgers defense right now? Are we talking about Toronto's defense? How did they get here? These teams
hitting the baseball very far
with their offense, with their slugging. So, yeah, it's a good point. I mean, when you have to go so far down a list to see both Machado and Tatis in terms of OPS leaders, slugging leaders. It's concerning. It really is.
Was like the face of baseball.
Yeah, in 2021.
And now he's offensively at the plate, just kind of there.
He's like solid.
He's solid. It's fine.
58th in slug.
Yeah. And I know that it's like, oh, well, he stole 30 plus bases this year. Bro, I can steal 30 bases in the big leagues right now.
How many bases did Xander Bogaerts steal?
Yeah, Bogaerts had, 20 something? So, again, there's value. I'm not saying that there's not. There's value. But we're looking for more. And he should be looking for more. And the team should be looking for more. The team should be like, look, dude, we signed you to be one of the best players in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying, the GM for the Phillies, what's his name? Dombrowski. Do you hear what he said about Bryce Harper?
No.
He basically called Bryce out and said, look,
we need more.
And we don't know if he's ever going to go be back to the Bryce Harper of his prime or of the Bryce Harper of old, but we need more. Imagine if that happened at AJ Preller's press conference.
We need more from Manny. Or Toddy.
I mean, it would be, I would appreciate it because it's true, right? But they would never step on the toes of Manny Machado in this organization. They would never step on the toes of Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, I mean, the long-winded answer, by the way, to the question that was initially brought up in the chat that you were arguing over is like, what are you going to do about it? It's all on the player.
Right.
Like, he's not going anywhere. I don't think the manager all of a sudden unlocks him. I think it could be valuable. I think there could be some importance to it, but I don't think he goes from 25 home runs to 50 home runs because of Pujols. If he does it, I'll credit Tatis more than Pujols. Even though a lot of people will be like, oh my God. I mean, if he somehow did that, I would give Tatis a lot of the credit. And I would say, well, is it really just because the manager, or did he put it on himself and he got back to where he was years ago?
I think that the constant coddling and babying from Mike Schilt for Fernando Tatis Jr. this past year, I don't think that was productive. I just don't, because there were too many times this year where Fernando looked disinterested, didn't care, And he knew he could get away with it because his manager was going to just stick up for him no matter what. I don't think that would be the case with Albert Pujols. I really don't. I think Albert Pujols would hold him to a standard and be like, hey, did you give up on that bat out there? Because if you tell me you didn't, I'll tell you you're lying because I saw it. And
that would be interesting.
You know what I mean? Like
that would be interesting.
I think that fatherly figure for Fernando would help.
All right, on the other side, what is going on with SDFC and Chucky Lozano? We've got the latest there. We're here until 6 p.m. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with baseball news of the day. The Giants officially hired Tennessee Vols head coach Tony Vitello to be their next manager. NFL news of the day, Jane Daniels has been ruled out versus the Chiefs this upcoming weekend. And NBA tonight, full slate of games. The primetime games are the Cavs and Knicks, followed by Spurs and Mavs on ESPN. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $125 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends November 1st. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Still to come on the show today, a 4-pack of tickets to Hallow Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. We'll give those away. In addition, Jeff Fletcher, who's covered the Angels for a long time, will join us to talk about Albert Pujols, his managerial candidacy in San Diego, and Paul Leffler, voice of Fresno State, as the Aztecs get ready for the Bulldogs on Saturday afternoon. So this comes out of MLS insider Tom Bogert, who said sources, the availability of SDFC star winger Chucky Lozano for the club's playoff run is uncertain due to an internal situation. He then goes on to say Lozano's absence this weekend was due to a verbal altercation that took place in the locker room earlier this month. He was subbed off at halftime during San Diego's game against Houston, October 4th. He was unhappy about it. He actually wrote extremely unhappy about it. And that's when the verbal altercation took place. One source said Lozano needs to prove how committed he is to the locker room in order to be available to play in the postseason.
What is this, high school soccer?
Dude, that's a pretty significant story, is it not? This was the face heading into the first year, Chucky Lozano, and now his status is uncertain heading into the postseason that begins in just 3 or 4 days.
It's always something.
It's so true. Actually, that's a better way to put it. Yeah,
it's always something in this town with sports. Like, just when you get everything's great moment, something happens.
It's so true.
Like, oh, the manager quits. Oh, there's turmoil in the front office. Oh, our star player.
Oh, Michael King's out for the.
Oh, Michael King sleeps wrong. He's out for the year.
Hey, we're first place in the West. Oh, Michael King's out. When they went to Dodger Stadium.
His knee gets drained.
Yeah.
Like, if this town, man, there's always something. Always something. Why can't things be normal here? They never can be normal. There's always got to be something happening with a team that it's just like, oh, this is good, too good to be true. Oh, yeah, it is too good to be true because now you got a disgruntled, potentially disgruntled star of your team, or one of the stars of your team. Anders Dryers is obviously the best player on the team because he had the best year. He's in the MVP discussion. Won't win it. That's going to go to Messi. But you get my point. Like, why can't things be normal here? Especially, you're entering the postseason as the number 1 seed. I'm not going to say, when is this team ever going to get this opportunity again? Because it's literally year 1. It's the first year of their existence. So we have no idea if this is going to be kind of like closer towards the norm or an outlier. We don't know that going forward.
But it is still, I mean, it'll be hard to win a conference because it's always hard to win a conference.
Absolutely. And to start out as strong as they've started out, I hate to say it, but there's always going to be a regression. Like, oh, are they going to get better next year? Are they going to be a better football or a soccer club next year? Like, we don't know that, but the odds are probably not. And so taking advantage of the opportunity that you have in front of you now, you can't have distractions like this. You can't have things like this happening.
Well, I need to talk to Darren, and I know Darren's going to be here for SDFC Midweek Live. And seriously, Darren, if you're listening, I would, because here's my question: like, are they capable of winning at the same clip without him? I know what they did to Portland the other day. Okay, it's one match. They won 4-0. But Chucky Lozano had 9 goals and 9 assists. That's an impactful year. And he only played like 2/3 of the matches. He only appeared in like 20 matches. Right. And he had 9 goals and 9 assists. So it's not like you're just like, well, bad year, wasn't impactful. No, he was having a good year when he was available to them. Can you win at the clip that's going to be necessary without him being on the field?
We also invested a lot into this guy.
Yeah, but that's true. That's true. But I just want to know, like, can you still win without him? And if you can, what does that really say?
I mean, we'll find out. We'll find out.
I mean, the matches he didn't appear in, Were they good? I mean, they didn't appear in 12 matches this year. They just smoked Portland the other day.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, John.
Right.
I would say that Anders Dryers is a more important piece of this team than Chucky Lozano is if I had to pick one or the other. But the more good players you have on the field, that is the better.
I like that.
I just look at the story and I'm like, I never like when a player potentially makes it about themselves or the team when the team is like this good. Because you have an opportunity to do something really special. And it should be about accomplishing that and doing that. Not, oh, my playing time, or, oh, you subbed me off the field. I can't believe that. I'm gonna be upset. Like, what are we doing here, dude? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like the type of story that you would want looming out there to start the postseason. It also seems like something that would need to be resolved because, to your point, he's got a multi-year commitment here. Like, if this isn't resolved in the postseason when you're the 1 seed, is it like, we're good, let's just start 2026 anew? Like, I would think it would have to be resolved. Otherwise, you got problems potentially heading into 2026 with Lozano. How could you not have him in the postseason over some internal issue and then feel good about it in 2026?
Well, the one thing is that I'm pretty confident with this club is, like, I don't feel like they would cave. I don't feel like they would jeopardize the team success for one player, because
that's fascinating though.
Because it's about the team. It's not about the individual. The individual is a part of the team, but especially with like soccer, football, right? I mean, to an extent of the other sports as well, but in football, hey, look, if you're not a part of the team, you're gone. And now if you're the star quarterback, it's a little different, but still, like, if there's a situation where the star quarterback is causing so much problems, they'll move on.
Yeah, definitely.
Same thing. Like, I feel like that in soccer. Hey, if the star player is causing a lot of problems, unless you're Messi, then you're like, hey man, we're moving on here. Like, we have more important things to worry about than you.
His salary is estimated to be between $7 and $9 million per year, and he is signed through 2028 by SDFC.
That's a huge commitment.
Huge commitment. And again, right now his status is uncertain, not just for like game 1 Sunday, but according to Tom Bogert, MLS Insider, his status is uncertain for the postseason.
We're all uncertain, John.
Yeah, some more than others. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty fascinating story. Again, if this was playing out in something like Major League Baseball with the Padres,
like if Manny Machado did this
would be the big story.
He pinch hit for me in the 8th inning, a 1-run game,
and then they sat him.
Maybe
Mike story ever.
Mike Schilt would never.
You okay?
No.
All right. On the other side, we're going to get back to the Padres and their managerial search coming up at 4:30. If you missed our conversation with Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, you will hear it. Jeff Fletcher from the Orange County Register at 5 p.m. on Pujols, and then Paul Leffler will join us at 5:30 to preview Fresno State and San Diego State. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is John and Jim again for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. We've been telling you for weeks now that the hotel and spa at Jamul Casino Resort is now open. It is the next level of luxury. It's arrived. You can treat yourself to a stunning new stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, and all the thrills of Jamul Casino Resort now all in one unforgettable destination.
Yeah, and savor San Diego's ultimate endless dining experience at Jamul 23 from their world-famous lobster brunch, served every morning to the luxurious VIP endless dining experience each evening. Indulgent chef-curated specialties, fresh seafood, prime cuts, and decadent desserts, all with stunning panoramic views.
You'll love the spa that is now open as well. You can unwind in style, experience pure relaxation, indulgent treatments, serene spaces, and a retreat designed to refresh your body and mind. Only at Hamul Casino Resort. By the way, you can book a treatment today at hamulcasino.com/spa. At the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. If you missed our conversation with Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, you'll hear it coming up at 4:30. We didn't react to one thing he said, Jim, which was he called Albert Pujols to the Padres a long shot. His words.
Yeah.
He said Albert Pujols is a long shot, and a more, I'm now paraphrasing, more realistic candidate would be Ryan Flaherty, who again played with Manny, bench coached multiple times now in the major league. So did you find that? I was a little surprised, caught off guard when he said it was a long shot.
I could so see that happening.
What, Flaherty?
Oh yeah.
I think that's most likely.
I think so too.
What about, who do you say?
Especially if they give Preller an extension.
What about Craig Albernaz, who he mentioned? If he's the manager,
oh my gosh,
I'll give a lot of credit to Mike Farron.
Mike Farron's very dialed in.
Yep.
Very dialed in. And when he says, yeah, Albert Pujols long shot,
I'm like, oh,
yeah, kind of puts a wet towel on hopes and dreams of Albert Pujols a little bit.
Is this one of those things that you do because you have to be courteous and professional? And we're talking about Albert Pujols, and he's interviewing with the Angels. Like, if he wants to interview with your club, you can take the 24 hours to do it.
Yeah, I think you leave no stone unturned.
Yeah.
Because just like we said about the last managerial hire, this one is very important.
Sure.
You know, like Preller has expressed that he wants a manager here for like a decade plus. Now, will Preller be here for a decade plus?
At this point, probably not.
Who knows? I mean, that'd be kind of crazy if he is here for the next 10 years.
A 22-year run.
And no World Series appearances or World Series
would have 10 years to do
potentially.
That. Have 10 years to do that.
But like, you got to find somebody that's going to be invested, that wants to be here for the long haul, that is going to be, in it. And I think interviewing as many people as you possibly can, go for it. You know, if Albert Pujols says he wants to be a manager and he's out there, and you know the connections that he has with you know, Manny and Toddy and Bogarts and his, you know, pedigree, like, why not interview him? Maybe this is just a courtesy interview just to see like the temperature on things, and
maybe he wins you over.
Maybe get to know him, and then maybe he wins you over, or maybe you go in there and you have a great conversation, but at the end of the day, you're like, it's not our guy.
Who finished second to Schilt? Was it Flaherty?
Yeah, Preller wanted Flaherty,
and Grupner and Seidler wanted Schilt, according to Dennis Lynn's report.
What essentially was being reported. Yeah.
And he kind of got overruled, but now Flaherty's still available.
Flaherty's available.
So if he finished second last time, it's only been 2 years. At the end of the day, you're appeasing Manny Machado.
Now, if you remember when Ryan Flaherty was here and he was the quote unquote offensive coordinator for your team, the team's offense was one of the worst offenses in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to. That's not the reason why I wouldn't hire him.
No, I'm just pointing it out. Like, I'm just saying that when Ryan Flaherty was here,
in 2023,
yeah,
everything went haywire.
It was awful, and I'm not putting all the blame on Ryan Flaherty. No way. I'm just saying, you know, the offensive philosophy under Ryan Flaherty was very underwhelming.
I feel like the Ryan Flaherty hire is just, it's safe, and Manny Machado likes him. There it is.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of professional baseball experience. I'm talking about on a coaching staff. You have the familiarity, and Manny Machado likes him. Okay. So like, that's what I feel like that would appease. It would like check those boxes. With Pujols, I feel like you're probably, I don't know. Again, it's a huge marketing win. It's a PR win if you hire Albert Pujols, but is it an on-field win with a Pujols who hasn't been in that setting before? But then again, Flaherty hasn't managed either. All these managerial candidates are going to have real question marks, would be my guess. No matter who they hire, it's unlikely that it's going to be like a home run.
Yeah, everybody's going to have the only hire that I'd have no questions about. I would have, no questions at all. Is Boch. That's it. Like if they went out and they hired Boch, I have no questions about it. Just full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Have Boch hire whoever he wants to hire as his staff. But that's not happening. Like, is Preller going to allow his manager to hire his own coaching staff?
Is Preller hiring the manager?
Is Preller even here?
Yeah, I mean, the questions go way larger than the managerial chair.
Oh, I know.
Is Preller the one to make the hire? Reportedly 2 years ago, he wasn't.
Wouldn't you think that the team should announce a contract extension for AJ Preller before they announce the hiring of a new manager?
Yeah, otherwise you end up in this Angels situation where the GM's under contract through 2026 and they announce that they signed Kurt Suzuki to a 1-year deal. And the GM's like, well, I'm signed through 2026 and so is he.
That is a disaster waiting to happen. That is going to end horribly. Anybody that thinks it's not, you're naive and you don't know the Angels.
They'll both be out.
Yeah, Artie Moreno is awful. He needs to sell that franchise like yesterday.
But this is another one of those situations where you're interviewing a potential manager and offering, let's say, a 2 or 3 year deal, but even a 2-year deal. And the manager's first question is, so I'm signed through 2027 and you're signed through 2026?
Right.
And you're in charge of all, roster decisions.
The manager and the GM, they work together. So when you interview for a job and you really like that boss,
you want stability.
You want that boss to be there. And what if you get hired and then a year later that boss is gone and like wait, hold on. No, I wanted to work for that person. I didn't want to work for this person that you brought in.
Yeah, I don't like the instability of it. I feel like to get the best candidate, you need stability. It's like college athletic conversation. No head coach wants to go somewhere where there's no university president and the AD is on their way out.
Right.
You want to know who's your president, who's your AD before you're hired as coach. I would say the same thing about the next manager of the Padres. Don't they want to know about the security of AJ Preller? I would. There's no way a serious candidate would just be like, oh, I'm cool with it. 3-year deal. We'll figure out 27 and 27. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
It just doesn't make any sense.
No, that's why I'm like wondering, why is it taking so long to announce a contract extension with AJ Preller? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
You know? And are they going to announce a contract extension? Or is there an agreement like, hey, we're going to get a contract extension done, but right now we want you to just business as normal, and we don't want you to worry about the contract extension because you're going to get it. But just go hire a manager, okay? Take care of all your business. Get ready for the GM meetings. Get ready for the winter meetings. Get ready for free agency. And don't worry, we'll get a contract extension done for you by no later than the start of spring training. Maybe that's what's happening.
Start of spring training. It's been 20 days since their season ended.
I know.
He's either going to be extended within the coming 2 weeks, or you got serious questions. It's as simple as that.
What if he's not?
Because the reporting is that he could be offered a contract extension this month.
Well, once the Colorado Rockies fill their vacant president of baseball operations position,
there's no vacancies.
So once that happens, and if it's not Preller,
what's the hurry?
Yeah, I mean, Preller's not going to go anywhere, right? Unless he quits, like Schilt.
No, I agree. I don't think he would just walk. But also, is it a good way to hire a manager, the GM that's lame duck heading into a final year? No, it's not. You want the show of stability, which is John Seiler says, hey, he's been extended through 2028. Yeah. Albert Pujols is a 3-year deal.
Yeah, and if this team ever did, in-person press conferences again, even though it's, let me check here, 2020 freaking 5. Jeez. Then when that press conference happens, there's going to be a question asked about what we're talking about right now.
Absolutely.
Multiple, probably.
Yep.
I
agree.
And do you want to put yourself in that position? Or do you want to put him in that position?
First question, the second question to Pujols, if he was hired, seriously.
Yeah.
Like the second real question other than, hey, what an amazing opportunity. Why do you want to manage?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, was it at all a part of the conversation that you just signed up a 3-year deal with a general manager who's only got 1 year left on his deal?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on knowing that you signed a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract here right now, knowing that AJ Preller is only under contract for 1 more season?
It's a big question that would have to be answered. They downplay it.
They wouldn't answer it because they never answer any questions.
But I'm saying Pujols would be asked that question. He would downplay it, presumably, because you just got named manager.
I'd also love to see AJ try to tell Pujols, hey, can we not say anything?
Yeah, say a lot without saying anything.
Yeah. I loved when Schulte said a lot without anything.
Can you do the same?
Yeah, Pujols is like, huh? What?
To be honest with you, I don't know a lot about the point that Darren made a couple of days ago is for someone that spent 20 years in the major leagues, I don't have a great feel for the personality or the DNA of Albert Pujols. What makes him tick? Is he mild-mannered? Is he fiery?
Well, we can ask Jeff Fletcher later today.
We will. He'll join us coming up at 5 p.m. Jeff Fletcher covered Albert Pujols for a long time with the OC Register. All right, on the other side, we'll get to the wrap. Also in the 4 o'clock hour, we will give away a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. Jeff Fletcher from the OC Register will join us at 5 p.m. It's John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with baseball news today. The Giants officially hired Tony Vitello to be their next manager. He was previously the manager or the coach at Tennessee in college. NFL news of the day, Jaden Daniels has been ruled out versus the Chiefs this upcoming weekend. And the NBA has a full slate of games tonight, primetime games. We're moments away from tip-off in New York, Cavs and Knicks, followed by Spurs and Mavs on ESPN. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $125 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends November 1st. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of John and Jim, and this hour we'll give away a 4-pack of tickets to Howlo Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. Coming up in 1 hour, Jeff Fletcher. He has covered the Angels for a long time with the OC Register, which means he's covered Albert Pujols, who today interviewed with the San Diego Padres. So we'll catch up with Jeff Fletcher at 5 p.m. And then Paul Leffler, voice of Fresno State, Aztecs Bulldogs, coming up Saturday at 12:30, a game you can hear right here on 760. He'll join us coming up at 5:30.
I know we're not listening to the broadcast and the game hasn't even started yet, but I love this version of the NBA on ESPN rather than the old version of the NBA on ESPN. I know the only new thing here is the addition of Inside the NBA, and they're taking away the awful pre and post and halftime show of ESPN, but still
just tonight,
which is
the next time we watch ESPN and NBA, it'll be Stephen A.
I know, and people are going to be upset because
they think this is what they're getting every game.
Yeah, and this is infinitely better.
Yeah.
Like the last
same thing.
I know you hated the pregame of NBC last night, right? I do think that the production and the quality of the broadcast was really good.
The game, yes.
The game was good. But I'm talking about
the production of the game was good.
Yeah. And I love hearing Rob Bell rock. It was just like, it just brings you. And like the production of it, it just felt big time. I don't know. It just felt big time. And then tonight, you replaced Doris Burke with Tim Legler. Thank goodness. You have Mike Breen on the call. Richard Jefferson, we'll work on that. But, inside the NBA crew, they're on the the halftime and the post. It's just like, it just feels better.
It's 100%. Completely agree with that. It's a huge upgrade for ESPN. It'll be big in the postseason. It'll be big in the NBA Finals.
Massive.
And it's big on opening night or, their opening night in 2025. Because, it's their other crew. The issue now, though, is the disparity is so wide between what they're doing with Inside the NBA and what they're going to do on the other nights with Stephen A. And
ESPN's got to pick
Perkins.
Up. Other than this, because this is their A team, right? When they go to their B team and they have Stephen A. Smith yelling his brains out and Kendrick Perkins sound like an idiot, right? Maliki Andrews and whoever else they have on that panel, they got to step it up because the bar has now been set and people are going to be pissed. I just think that not seeing Stephen A. Smith for the first 2 nights of the NBA on television, it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, they better not force him in at some point.
They will.
Tonight.
Well, not tonight. I'm talking about. They'll force him in eventually.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just hoping we don't see him tonight.
You won't.
We won't. Okay.
No, you won't.
That's good.
Thankfully.
All right, let's get to it, Brent.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Who was more impressive last night, the Warriors or the Thunder in their 40 overtimes?
Well, the Thunder were without Jalen Williams.
Yep.
And they still won. That just shows you how good they are. We were talking about yesterday. I think the Rockets are still going to be a really good team.
Pretty good, yeah.
Without Fred VanVleet, I don't think they can win a title, but they could get into a Western Conference Finals, and that might be the Western Conference Finals preview that we saw last night. But I'll go with the Dubs.
Look at you.
I know I'm a homer. Sorry. Just for this, if Jonathan Kuminga is going to play like that, and then you got Jimmy Butler leading the way. And then, by the way, you still got Steph. As long as Draymond doesn't continue to be an idiot, and he got technical in like the first half off the bench. Yeah. That was a bad call because I think Ayton grabbed the rim and the refs didn't call it. But still, that was impressive last night. even though the Lakers watching them and we were texting back and forth, they got issues.
It was like Luka in the G League in LA for the Lakers. I'm with you, though. I was actually more impressed by the Warriors. And I said to you off air earlier today, I'm like, the Warriors, when fresh, are one of the NBA's best teams.
When fresh, that's the key word.
And we saw how the postseason schedule has been now over the last year or two, where it's so condensed.
Yep.
That's been problematic for a team like Golden State, a veteran team.
Yep.
But they have a chance to be very good. The Thunder are going to be great. Obviously, they'll fall out of bed with 50-something wins at a minimum. They'll get Jalen Williams back. But I was very impressed by the Warriors last night. I was unimpressed by the Lakers.
Oh, my gosh. Lakers. Ugh.
At home to look like that, kind of lay an egg.
Other than Luka. Because Luka's going to put up his points. There's no doubt about it.
And they didn't have LeBron.
Speaking of LeBron, did you? Because I know you watch every second.
Every second, right. He wasn't there, was he?
He was there.
He was there.
They didn't show him a lot.
I was going to say, did you find it odd that LeBron didn't show any emotion on the bench? He never was clapping. I think they went to LeBron after Luka had an and one. And Eagle joked. He's like, LeBron's excited, and LeBron had just a straight face. I thought it was weird. I didn't see any emotion from LeBron. Nothing. No cheering, no clapping, no talking. Like, literally nothing. He just was sitting there. It was weird.
When's he coming back?
Don't know, but
they need him.
Yeah, you think?
They need him in a big way.
They need the 40-year-old LeBron.
Last night, they need LeBron James badly. Yeah. And that includes Luka, who played 100 minutes yesterday and got hurt.
I know.
With a groin injury.
Because they have no secondary scoring without LeBron. If Austin Reeves doesn't show up, it's Luka and nobody else.
I hate Austin Reeves.
And DeAndre
flops all the time.
Is awful, too.
Awful. He is going to piss Lakers fans off so much. He'll have a 20-10 game where then Lakers fans are like, this is it. Yeah, and then he's going to look like he did last night for a long stretch. And Lakers fans are going to be losing their minds.
Yeah, because he's going to Angel Reese it and get his own rebounds.
Next question.
Will the Giants regret their manager hire?
This is so funny because, like, this guy reminds me a lot of Gabe Kapler, mostly because of his looks and a little bit of his attitude.
Yeah, I would say his attitude. Yeah.
And there's no in between here. Right?
No, I don't think so.
He's either a great manager or he's
not
awful.
A good manager. Yeah.
And if he turns out to be a really good manager, I think this could change the way of how teams go about their managerial searches.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, if you're a college head coach and you're a successful college head coach, you might get some looks now.
Yeah, definitely.
If Tony Vitello turns into a good major league manager. But if he doesn't, and this turns into an absolute disaster, yeah, you'll never see another college head coach ever be hired to be a manager in baseball ever again.
I just think you're kind of setting him up to fail because it's such a unique path, and professional baseball is so different than collegiate baseball, and he has no professional experience, that if the Giants' goals are to be really good from year one, like if you're going to give him a grace period, okay, but if they need to be good immediately, that's a concern to me. It's very outside the box. And I'm with you. It either works or you fall flat on your face. It's not going to be like, oh, he's an okay manager. No, it either works or he's going to fall on his face and they're going to be looking for another manager in 12 months.
Everything that Buster has done so far has been very unconventional. Trading for a disgruntled superstar in Rafi Devers, right? That
didn't
huge,
work in the short term.
That huge contract. I think in the long term, like at the end of the season, you look at Rafi's numbers last year. He was pretty good, right? And then signing Willie Adames to that big deal. And then now going with Tony Vitello.
It's unconventional, but remember, post-trade, the Giants had one of the worst records in the sport. Post-Devers trade. The Red Sox had one of the best records in the sport. It was only 1 year, but I mean, I would think the next year's a big year for the Giants. They're going to do it with a guy that's never been in pro ball. Next question.
Will the World Series go more than 4 games?
Yeah, I think it'll go 5.
Yeah, I think Blue Jays in 5 too.
No, I think Dodgers in 5.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was either Blue Jays in 4 or 5 for me.
Oh, really?
But I could see the Dodgers winning a game.
The only way I see it going longer than that is just because of home field.
Because Toronto has it.
Now, they do go the 2-3-2 format. So if
I don't love that.
If the Dodgers split,
they might not have to go back to Toronto.
Puts Toronto in a massive hole. I
would
Dodgers
in 5.
I would prefer the 2-2-1-1-1, but that will never happen in baseball.
Travel.
Too much travel.
I think Dodgers in 6. I think the Blue Jays will manage to make it a quasi-series, but I think Dodgers in 6. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's Blue Jays in 3.
I hope it's Blue Jays in 2.
I hope it's Blue Jays in any number, but I mean, come on.
I'm hoping for a good. I hope it's a good series.
I hope it's a good series.
Unfortunately, though, Dodgers in 5 or 6.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's very likely. Next question.
Can the San Diego FC win the MLS Cup without Chucky Lozano?
It's a good question.
I'll say yeah.
Yeah, I'll see why. I mean, it's not impossible, right?
Not like he played every single minute of every match this year, like Anders Dreyer.
No,
if the roles are reversed,
yeah, then you'd be like, they're screwed.
Yeah, if Anders Dryer's was in the Chucky situation right now,
you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll say yes, they can.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I do think that typically team sport is bigger than one player, and I think he's a very good player in Chucky Lozano, obviously. And I think some of the results would prove that this year in San Diego. 9 goals, 9 assists, I think is a good year. But can it be overcome? Hopefully. They've got a best of 3 to get out of that Western quarterfinals with the first match coming up Sunday at Snapdragon Stadium. But will they have Chucky? I wonder when we get resolution on that. Like, will we get an answer on that before the match?
Probably no, but right before the match, maybe.
Like his availability.
I mean, they're very coy with this.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to announce anything. Yeah, gamesmanship for sure. They're not going to, because they want the other team to, game plan for Chucky potentially.
Will they know their opponent tonight? Is that match tonight? The wild card match?
It is tonight, yeah. So it's the Portland Timbers
in Salt Lake.
Yeah, Real Salt Lake.
All right, so that's at 7:30. So they'll know their opponent, and their opponent's going to play on 3 days rest. So advantage San Diego in that best of 3 series gets underway Sunday night at Snapdragon Stadium. All right, getting you ready for another weekend in the NFL. Reacting to the latest with the Padres and their managerial search. Plus, if you missed it earlier, coming up at 4:30, Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. You will hear that conversation coming up in about 15 minutes. Also this hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760 congratulates all our $5,000 winners and iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. There's still time for you to nominate a public school teacher making a difference, and maybe they'll be one of our next winners of $5,000 to make over their classroom. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Okay.
Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio at 4:30. His thoughts on Albert Pujols potentially being the next manager of the San Diego Padres. Plus, coming up at 5 p.m., Jeff Fletcher, who has covered Pujols in Anaheim for the OC Register, his thoughts on Pujols as a potential major league manager. Now, you mentioned something to me at the last break, which is a change that the NBA will have this year, and it'll be more impactful once we get to the postseason. But remember, they caught all that flack last year in the NBA Finals when they didn't have the Larry O'Brien trophy on the floor.
Yeah.
They didn't have the NBA Finals logo on the floor. They finally put it on as like how'd they do it? They put it on like through video.
Yeah, like a graphic that was on television, but
which
it wasn't,
you could tell it wasn't on the floor.
Yeah.
But they're going to make the change and pivot and actually put it back on the floor for the first time in like 20 years coming up this postseason.
Yeah. So one of two things. One, bullying works.
Yeah, exactly.
And two, after the abomination of the production that there was the NBA Finals last year, good on the NBA to pivot and realize as quickly as the year following it that, look, we need to up our game here because the NBA Finals last year felt like a game on Wednesday night in January.
Yeah, they didn't even show the player introductions for game one of the NBA Finals.
And that's why I thought the NBC broadcast last night, for at least the opener between the Thunder and the Rockets, like it felt like a big time game.
Well, the second game you wouldn't even know because they joined it with 6 minutes to play in the half.
Yeah, they're going to have to work on that. Now, they do have the luxury of having Peacock, so they can do the East Coast, West Coast doubleheader. If that were to happen like it did last night, you can go to Peacock. But
you got to have Peacock.
You got to have Peacock.
Which
thankfully I did.
Yeah, like I didn't start seeing the Warriors Lakers until there were 6 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because that game did go 2 overtimes. Yeah. They did do a ring ceremony. They did do all these extra events for it.
Right. But usually when you do the doubleheader, the second game of the doubleheader, you're not going to have all the pomp and circumstances you would have for the opener.
But don't you think there should be a 3-hour window between it? When you have a 2.5-hour window between games,
dude. I know.
It's like when they do college basketball. Yeah. Like, this game's 7 to 9 and this game's 9 to 11. It never works that way. The games always run into the next.
Yeah.
Then you see Aztec fans like, why can't I watch this game?
Well, here's the problem with the NBA, which I absolutely hate, is if you look right now at the start times for games.
Okay.
So the first game I saw, Raptors Hawks. All right. 4:30 tip off.
So 7:30 Eastern.
7:30 Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you that game will not tip off until 7:42 Eastern. So
just in general, because it's opening night for those teams. Is it always like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Night? Anytime that there's a 7 p.m. tip off on the West Coast.
It's like 7:12.
7:15.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Right. You want it within like 2 minutes.
If the game is scheduled to start at 7 o'clock, the game needs to start at 7 o'clock.
That's what we like about baseball. They would never tell a starting pitcher, it's a 7:04 start. Like, 7:14.
Right.
Like if it's a 7:05 start, it's going to start at 7:05.
First pitch is 7:05 or 7:06.
Within a minute. Yeah. But I'm with you on basketball.
Always happens without fail.
Yeah.
Now, on a national game, they get closer to the actual tip time because they have to, because it's a broadcast on a national network, right? But these local broadcasts, they always start 10 to 15 minutes past scheduled tip time.
That's interesting.
So, I don't know where I was going with that, but
you said you hate it.
I hate it. Yeah, I hate it.
Listen, what we agree. I'm with you. I thought last year's NBA Finals, when you consider the teams, right? It's Thunder, Pacers.
It was an abomination of a broadcast.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, you didn't have these preeminent franchises, right? It wasn't Lakers, Celtics. So you have these nouveau-ish. You don't see the Thunder on a national stage every year.
Yeah.
You don't see the Pacers on a national stage every moment. So you needed to elevate it, and they failed to do it.
Oh, my gosh.
And now they eventually, like by game 2 or game 3, started to try to make up for it. The series ends up going 7 games. You have this, there were all kinds of iconic moments in the series, including the Halliburton injury, unfortunately, in the 7th game. But like you had a good finals. It went 7 games. So hopefully lesson learned by the NBA.
The only 2 former NBA players that were on that broadcast, pre, half, post, in-game, were Kendrick Perkins and Richard Jefferson. Like, are you serious?
Yes.
When your main guy, and one of the biggest talking points that came out of last year's NBA's finals was Stephen A. Smith was caught playing solitaire on his phone during the game.
During the game.
And everyone's like, dude, are you serious right now?
And then he's like, I can do two things at once.
No, you couldn't.
No. I'm like, you can't play solitaire well.
No. Like, at some point in time, you got to watch the games because we can tell you don't.
Right.
All you do is yell and just, I don't even know, dude. It's just an awful listen, an awful watch.
Are we going to see the NBA finals rotate through NBC?
I don't think so, because I think ESPN and ABC have a contract with the NBA for the NBA finals for at least like the next decade. I think it's going to be a while, but the NBA finals eventually, I think, will go back to NBC. They're not doing the rotating thing like the NFL does with Fox, CBS, and NBC.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. I mean, NBC is putting so much money into it and resources. They signed an 11-year deal,
like $70 billion or something.
Yeah, like billions of dollars. I would think you'd end up getting an NBA Finals out of that, but I didn't do the research either. I know it's been on ESPN. ABC.
My guess is they will.
Yeah, at some point they have to. They have to.
Yeah, which would be cool.
All right. If you missed Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, his thoughts on Albert Pujols as a manager potentially for the San Diego Padres, you'll hear that conversation coming up next. Plus, this hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream at SeaWorld San Diego here until 6 p.m. It's John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with baseball news of the day. Tony Vitello has been hired as the Giants' next manager. He previously was at the University of Tennessee, so he's the now manager of the San Francisco Giants. And NFL news of the day, Jaden Daniels, he has been ruled out this weekend already for the Commanders against the Chiefs. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $125 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends November 1st. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
All right, we'll give away a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream in about 15 minutes. But if you missed it earlier, great conversation on the Padres with Mike Fair and MLB Network Radio. We started the conversation by asking about Albert Pujols. Would he be a good manager, and would he be a good fit in San Diego?
Yeah, so this is, I think, a really fascinating question, because the number of former Hall of Famers who've gone on to be big league managers that are successful big league managers is pretty short. In fact, I think you can make a case that, like there were a couple of good years maybe of Yogi Berra and Paul Molitor, and I think I'm missing one in there. Gil Hodges led the Mets to the World Series in 1969, but he was put in the Hall of Fame posthumously. It just doesn't happen all that often. So I've been asking that same question, and I actually asked it of Molitor this morning, and he kind of gave a good answer on, just like understanding what players can do and trying to learn that on your own, as opposed to doing what San Diego's greatest native son outside of Tony Gwynn, Ted Williams, did, which was get frustrated with the way the guys couldn't hit like him because he was Ted Williams. So I think that's one part. And I think the other is that Albert seems to have a really good way of relating to people. He's very chill. He commands a room. He's a presence. He's very smart. And so he seems to have some of the soft science things that you would want in terms of having a manager there who maybe wouldn't just get frustrated with players who aren't be able to perform at the level that he did over the course of his career. And so I think that makes him a pretty intriguing candidate when you start to dig in and know that stuff. That said, I think it's a real long shot that he ends up as the manager of the Padres. I'm not sure that he is the first choice in that group, and really outside of the Angels, it sounds like the interest the Orioles had was a little bit overblown. So this is probably his only chance at it. Maybe he gets it in the end. I mean, he could wow them, and he certainly would carry a presence. But I think there are a number of other candidates in that mix that probably would be ahead of him, at least going into the interview in the pecking order. I know he interviewed today.
So of the other candidates, potentially, who do you envision could be a good fit here in San Diego? And if there's a name out there that you haven't heard potentially that you think could also be a good fit here at the Padres?
Yeah, Ryan Flaherty, I think, is the name that's come up a lot. He was obviously the bench coach for the Padres before he went to the Cubs. And, he was a teammate of Manny Machado's in Baltimore. And I think he's a name that is going to be linked to a lot of managerial openings. If not, San Diego, then I think Baltimore's a place that he has a good chance. His name has come up an awful lot. I think the other name that we've heard is probably Ruben Niebla, who we know has done a terrific job as a pitching coach there. I have a lot of respect for Ruben. I love Ruben. My dealings with him, I just think he's a terrific coach and a great dude. And I think he's got the right kind of personality to be able to handle that job. In terms of names that we haven't heard, I'll tell you the name of the guy that has not come up a lot publicly, and maybe it's because his organization does a job of keeping things quiet, and maybe he does too, because I don't think he's the most well-known, is Craig Albernaz, who's the bench coach of Cleveland. And you may be going, who the hell is Craig Albernaz? And I get it. I think that's probably fair. But Albernaz, before he was Stephen Vogt's bench coach the last 2 years in Cleveland, was on staff with the San Francisco Giants at the major league level. Before that, he was a minor league manager and a coach in the Rays organization. And I can tell you that just about everywhere, well, not just about everywhere he's gone, people say that's a future big league manager. He is Stephen Vogt's closest friend. He is really good at relating to people. He is extremely baseball smart. So that's a name that I would consider in there too, that I just haven't heard his name linked with any of the openings. And quite frankly, I find that surprising because that's a guy who my understanding is could have had the Marlins job last year if he'd wanted it.
And it's interesting because the names that you said there would all be first-time managers. So
yes.
What's your thoughts on a first-time manager for a team like the Padres that they're looking to win like right now compared to a team that's rebuilding?
Yeah, I think with a couple of those guys, specifically with Flaherty and with Niebla, they know the dynamics of that clubhouse. And, I know Flaherty hasn't been there in a couple of years, but he's got a pretty good feel for at least the core group of players, right? So I think that makes it a little different because you've already got a lot of ground covered in what a new manager has to do in learning the personnel. So I think it would be less of an issue there. In fact, it might be easier for them than it would be for a more experienced manager. And I don't think that they're guys that don't have experience, at least coaching. Like it's tough. Like I would love to see more minor league managers get opportunities. Morgan Ensberg, who's another San Diego guy, has been a AAA manager for the Rays for the last, 3 years now, and was in AA before that and was in A-ball. I mean, he's managed at every level. He's got like 1,200 games. And I don't think that there's anything that happens inside a game that would surprise him as a manager. And I just don't think that he's gotten that opportunity to really interview for those jobs yet. So, yeah, I think that there is something to be said for having experience in the managerial chair, whether it's in the minor leagues or in the big leagues. But really, 90% of that job, or 95%, we focus on the decision making, right? Who's the reliever you pull? Who's the pinch hitter? Where do you play your defense? That kind of stuff. And we make a big deal out of that. But in the end, it comes down to player execution. And 90 to 95% of the job is how you manage people, just like anything else. If you don't want to work for a micromanager, but you want to work for somebody that has your back, has your best interest in mind, is able to have tough conversations with you in a positive manner. I think that's what really matters.
Mike Fair on MLB Network Radio with us right now on John and Jim. It's interesting because you talked about, again, players that have had the success of Albert Pujols as a player. There's not a lot of examples of that type of caliber of a player becoming manager. Then again, there's not a lot of players that have had the success of Albert Pujols. What about pitching coaches that later become managers? I'm thinking about like Buddy Black, John Farrell. There's not like dozens and dozens of pitching coaches that have become managers. What's the track record suggest, or what are the challenges of moving over, 24 inches, so to speak, and going from pitching coach to manager?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the X's and O's part, right? That's what people, especially managing offensive decisions, right? That's where the difference is. I don't really think it's that hard to manage that at this point. I think you understand what the game calls for in most given situations. You view it from the pitching side. You know how that's going to play out. Not to mention, I just think there is better information available for every manager than there was, say 50 years ago. Now, I know it wasn't a pitching coach, but Sparky Anderson earned the nickname Captain Hook because he was into his bullpen early with starters, right? Sparky Anderson understood the third time through the order penalty. He just didn't have the stats to back it up, right? And so I think once you have more information, I don't want to say it makes the job easier, but it certainly points you in the right direction of the decisions. So to me, it's keeping the group together, making sure that everybody's pulling on the same end of the rope, and building relationships. And the good news is, if you're a pitching coach like Ruben Niebla, you already have relationships with all the pitchers and the catchers, right? And so, and listen, he's been there long enough that I guarantee he's got a relationship with Manny Machado. He's got one with Fernando Tatis Jr. He has one with Xander Bogaerts. He has one with Jake Cronenworth, right? He's got the core guys that he knows, and you just take another step forward in that. And I don't think he would change much in terms of personality.
What do you make of what the Giants did today with Tony Vitello?
It is the single most fascinating decision I have, and I mean decision, that I have seen a club make in 25 years of covering Major League Baseball.
Wow.
I am absolutely fascinated. My other job is covering college baseball. And so I have covered a lot of Tony V. And Tony Vitello is an extremely energetic coach with a great background. He's been an assistant to some of the top college coaches in the country. He is the son of a really, really prominent high school baseball and soccer coach in St. Louis. Coaching and baseball is in his blood. But this is unprecedented. We have never seen a coach who had no professional experience, not just as a coach, as a manager, but as a player either, that has gone from the college ranks directly to the big leagues. Even the ones we have seen who have had experience, Pat Murphy obviously managed in the Padres system for close to 10 years before he was the interim manager there, and then was a bench coach again under Craig Counsell before he got the manager job. When Dick Hauser got the Yankees job in 1980, he had spent a year at Florida State. He spent the 8 previous seasons as the third base coach for the Yankees, and he played 8 years in the big leagues. Bobby Winkles went from ASU to the Angels in 1972 as a coach, and then took over as their manager in 73. Even Branch Rickey, when he left University of Michigan in 1913 to take over the Cardinals, had played 8 years in the big leagues, right? So, this is just not something that we have seen before. I have so many questions that I don't think are going to be answered until we see it go. But he is very charismatic. He's very smart. I hope that it works. But this is the kind of big swing that it really helps if you own a portion of the team and you're running baseball operations to be able to take this kind of swing. Because I think Buster Posey is going to be okay if he doesn't get it right. Yeah. But you're putting a lot into, I would say it's risky, right? It is a risky decision, but I am really interested to see how this plays out in so many ways.
Mike, before you go, is there a world in which, and you've told us before that the variance in baseball, right? It's not the NFL where the best team beats the worst team, or the NBA in a 7-game series, but do you see a scenario where Toronto is able to do this, or how much of a long shot is it for Toronto?
The odds on it sound like they're similar to what it was in 2019,
right,
when the Astros were prohibitive favorites and then lost in 7 games to the Nationals. So, I think there's a path. Absolutely. I think that there are similarities between what the Blue Jays do well and what the Brewers did well. And I know that the Brewers offense wasn't very good against the Dodgers. They control the strike zone very well. The thing that Toronto does better is they do it by hitting for power. And they're not that dissimilar from the Astros teams of 2017, 2018, 2019. Now, they're not banging out a trash can to get the signs, as far as we know. But they do make good swing decisions. They put the ball in play, and they put the ball in play hard. And so I think they're going to be a tougher test for the Dodgers pitching staff. The Dodgers bullpen is still the Dodgers bullpen. And while they don't necessarily have absolute monsters on the mound, they do have a pretty good rotation and a bullpen that I think has been better than what people realize. I believe it's been since September 1st that they haven't lost a game in which they've had a lead, or at least hadn't until Game 5 of the ALCS. There's some pitching pretty well overall. So, I think there's a chance. I think the series definitely makes its way back to Toronto for a Game 6 and potentially a Game 7. I think the Dodgers are still the favorites, but I absolutely can see a path where Toronto doesn't just make it interesting, but ends up winning the World Series.
Final one, Mike. That was the greatest game you've ever seen from Ohtani, right? The best game you've ever seen any player?
I mean, how many high school guys have 10 strikeout, 3 homer games?
Not a lot.
Right? I don't think that this. I was working with Lance Lynn this week, and I was like, "You never had a high school game like that." He said, "Hey, I punched out 10 and over twice." 3 homers, that's what he did was insane. And then factor in the fact that they won the pennant on top of it, right? It's just, I mean, we may never see another performance like that again. The only thing I can think that comes close to that performance that he put up was when he, hit 50 and stole his 50th base in the same game and did 3 homers and knocked in 10 against Miami last year. That guy's, he's different, and man, are we fortunate to get to see him.
Yeah, not as fortunate in San Diego, but the point's a valid one. Mike, we appreciate you hopping on. Enjoy the World Series. All right, from earlier with Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. On the other side, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream. Plus, Jeff Fletcher covers the Angels for the OC Register. His thoughts on the possibility of Albert Pujols managing in the major leagues and potentially here in San Diego. He'll join us live at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer again for our friends over at Toyota. There's no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer. They've got new vehicles arriving daily. We're talking about some of the most popular cars, trucks, and SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, hurry into your Toyota dealer today. And if it's a truck, well, it is Trucktober at your Toyota dealer. Best time to get into a new Toyota truck is now. They've got the largest inventory of Tacomas and Tundras ready to roll. The Tacoma is known for its legendary toughness, off-road capability, and everyday efficiency, perfect for weekend adventures or just tackling your to-do list. And the Tundra brings serious power, impressive towing capacity, and bold design, plus the latest tech and comfort features. So whether you need a truck that's built for the trails, built for work, or built for your family's next adventure, Toyota's got you covered. Get there this Trucktober. Again, new vehicles arriving daily. We make it easy. See your Toyota dealer today. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jeff Fletcher covers the Angels for the OC Register. His thoughts on Albert Pujols as a manager at 5 p.m. Paul Leffler covers the Fresno State Bulldogs. Just heard that promo. Big one Saturday. Aztecs Bulldogs renewing a rivalry. Paul Leffler will join us coming up at 5:30. And in about 6 minutes, we'll give away a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. Scream.
Imagine a Seattle Mariners Hallow Scream this year.
Imagine,
doing
doing a Mariners wrap-up show after Game 7. A little bit like Padres-Dodgers after Game 5 last year, but different because they led 3-1 in the 7th inning.
8 outs to go from a World Series.
Dan Wilson's going to the mound.
No,
man.
8 outs.
There's always next year.
Oh yeah,
so they'll be right back.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
They're in the ALCS.
They fought a bet in the ALCS every the next year. 10 years.
Yeah, they're always 8 outs away from a World Series.
Cal Raleigh every year is going to hit 65 home runs, right?
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So easy.
It's easy.
If it only worked that way. I mean, there's a world where the Mariners get back and make a World Series. There's a world where they're nowhere near it. Yep. That's just how baseball specifically works.
And for teams that go that deep.
Yep, I was deep.
Pause. And don't reach the goal. There's always a regression, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to overcome. In the offseason, that mess.
Especially with such a heartbreaking loss.
Completely heartbreaking. I mean, you hit multiple home runs.
I present to you the 2023 San Diego Padres.
In 2026,
now it wasn't as heartbreaking as this was for Seattle.
Yeah.
But still, you get that far, you get that close. They weren't as close as the Mariners were. But you get that far, you get that close. There's going to be a regression next year. And that's why this season I feel like was impressive from the Padres to an extent, because I did think that they had a disappointing year, but still getting to 90 wins after the heartbreak that they experienced the previous year.
Yeah, that was excruciating.
But it's different because they weren't 8 outs away from a World Series.
No, but they were at home in Game 4, 1 game away from the NLCS. But you're right; they're both different.
It's different.
But to have your rival knock you out in the manner in which the Padres were knocked out, where the Mariners.
I just think that the Mariners, unfortunately, next year are going to take a step back. It's hard to envision them like going from 8 outs away and winning 90 games this year, winning the AL West to winning
the World Series,
100 games next year and winning the World Series.
I mean, we are talking about the Mariners.
It's the freaking Mariners,
their history
guys.
is not good.
Yeah.
Their track record is not good.
No.
I'm curious to see what happens with the Blue Jays next year. Like, the Blue Jays don't fall to bet every year in the postseason either, or in the World Series.
I had this yesterday while you were gone. Let me just pull this up here. So, over the last 30 years, teams to make the World Series, the Blue Jays had the 6th lowest odds in the last 30 years to make the World Series.
Interesting.
If you looked at the 5 teams in front of them,
who are those
with
teams?
Worse odds, the Rays in 08, they were 150 to 1.
Wow.
At the start of the season.
Yeah.
D-backs in 2023, 125 to 1. Tigers in 06, 100 to 1. Rockies in 07, 75 to 1. Along with the Marlins in 03, 75 to 1. And the Blue Jays this year, 66 to 1 to make the World Series.
Yeah, I was going to say, who was talking about the Blue Jays to start the year?
They finished, I think, in last place last year. Or they finished close to last place.
Yeah, I mean, that's
in the AL East.
I mean, I know they had a really good regular season. I still didn't expect them necessarily to be here. I didn't.
No.
Not that I expected the Mariners to be in the World Series either. But somebody's got to be there.
Someone's got to be there.
It goes back to, can someone give the Dodgers a series? That's what it boils down to. I wanted the Mariners to win, but guess what? I could care less if the Blue Jays actually win this series.
And I don't know if the Mariners could have given the Dodgers a better series than
they wouldn't have had home field.
No, we don't even know. We don't even know because we have to watch the games play out first. It just, maybe the Blue Jays do end up playing really good, and because they have home field and they beat the Dodgers and they win the World Series. And then we'll say, well, yeah, of course it's the Blue Jays, but what if the Blue Jays get smoked? Then we'll maybe the Mariners were better team to go up against the Dodgers.
And last year's World Series wasn't overly compelling. Like, the whole series was determined on, that Game 5 is remembered for Aaron Judge dropping a fly ball. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a great series last year. We could use a good World Series just in general.
Yeah, I know.
So hopefully we get that. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that.
That'll begin when? Friday? I'll tell you what, if the Blue Jays lose Game 1, that series is so over. If they lose Game 1 at home,
it's over.
that thing is done.
Dunzo.
So they better win game one. I'm serious when I say that.
I know.
Like, I can live with them splitting. I can sell myself, hey, maybe it'll be a long series. But you have to win game one. If you're going to split. You have to win game one.
Have to.
I'm telling you. All right, call right now if you want a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O-Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. Caller 7, you have 4 free tickets to Howl O-Scream. You need to call right now, 877-767-4760. Call right now, again, 877-767-4760. Caller 7, you've got a free 4-pack of tickets to Howl O-Scream at SeaWorld. This year, new horrors awaken, 5 haunted houses, 8 terrifying scare zones, hidden speakeasies, and the thrills of Coasters After Dark. Select nights now through November 1st. Get tickets now at SeaWorld.com/San Diego. That's SeaWorld.com/San Diego. On the other side, Jeff Fletcher covers the Angels for the OC Register, which means he covers Albert Pujols as well. His thoughts on Pujols' candidacy as a future Major League manager. Coming up next, this is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with news in the National League West. One manager was hired, not for the Padres, but for the San Francisco Giants. As the Giants today officially made it official. Tony Vitello, he is their new manager. He was the head coach for the Tennessee Vols last year. He won a national championship for them as well. And NFL news of the day, Jaden Daniels. He is going to miss this weekend's game for the Commanders against the Chiefs. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $125 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends November 1st. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of John and Jim with you until 6 p.m. Coming up in 30 minutes, we'll have the voice of Fresno State, Paul Loeffler, join us. The San Diego State and Fresno State meet this weekend in the Central Valley. Big game for the Aztecs. But right now, Jeff Fletcher, he's covered the Angels for a long time with the OC Register. He's with us right now, back on John and Jim. And Jeff, we appreciate your time. I guess I would start here relating to the Albert Pujols conversation, because you've covered the Angels, you've covered Pujols. What happened here recently where it appeared as if he was a perceived favorite to be the next Angels manager? Where and how did that go awry?
Well, it's hard to say. The Angels really don't really want to say too much about it because they just hired somebody else, so they certainly don't want to make it come off as that Kurt Suzuki was their second choice in any way. I think that a lot of times people, when you're talking to free agents and stuff too, the same thing. You talk to people and it just doesn't work out. I think that maybe what Pujols wanted and what the Angels wanted obviously didn't jive together, and so they ended up with Kurt Suzuki.
When you covered Albert Pujols for a long time in Anaheim, and when you saw that Albert Pujols wanted to become a manager and there's potential for him to become the Angels manager, do you believe that if he were to become a manager wherever, that he would be a good one? Or what's your take on, Albert making that jump here, maybe to be a manager in baseball?
I mean, it's hard to say. I think that there's a lot of people that were good players that don't make good managers, and probably lots of players, obviously, that were not good players that do make good managers, and people that you thought would be good and aren't, or vice versa. So you just don't really know until somebody does it, and he hadn't done it, really, except for a little bit of winter ball. So, it's hard to say. I wish I had the answer, but I don't know. He certainly would have the respect of the players, and, that counts for something. But, as for how he would handle all the bullpen management, the media, dealing with roster moves and in-game moves and 100 other things that a manager has to do, we have no idea really how that would have gone.
Jeff Fletcher covers the Angels for the OC Register with us right now on John and Jim. We can get back to Pujols, but I was just curious to get your reaction to not just Kurt Suzuki, but him getting a 1-year deal.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a surprise, but, at the same time, Kurt Suzuki's not really in a position to say no. If he wants to get a managing job, he's has no experience, and the Angels are where he lives already. He already lives in Southern California, so he doesn't have to uproot his family. He's already working for the Angels. I'm sure there was a part of owner Artie Moreno's decision, kind of looking ahead at 2027, and there's some people think there might not be a season in 2027, so any money that you don't have to commit to 2027 is money you don't have to worry about losing if there's no season. So, who knows? It's a little bit of a surprise, but you can see why Kurt Suzuki and the Angels are doing it.
The person, Albert Pujols, covering for him for as long as you did, how is the person, in the clubhouse, around media, his personality? Like, could you give us a little insight on Albert Pujols as the person?
Well, when I first heard that Pujols wanted to be a manager, my first thought was there's no way he's going to want to talk to the media twice a day, every day for the entire season. So I was shocked by that. And but then as I talked to him, and I talked to some other people in St. Louis that had spent some time around him, kind of post-playing Albert as he changed a little bit. It sounds like he was prepared to do that, and he was understood that was going to be part of the job, and he wasn't going to be able to just say, no, I'm not talking as frequently as he did when he was a player. So that was definitely going to be something that would have been an interesting change for him. But, it'll be interesting to see if and when he does get a job, how he handles all that.
Jeff Fletcher covers the Angels for the OC Register with us right now on John and Jim. Just to touch on the Angels briefly, like when Angels fans see what's playing out in baseball and you see teams like the Mariners or the Blue Jays get to the World Series, or the success that's been enjoyed in San Diego for the better part of the last half decade, like how is this being received right now in Anaheim? This consistent lack of success year in and year out, despite some spending prowess over the last decade plus.
Well, they're pretty mad about it. I'd say based on my Twitter feed, they're a pretty angry bunch, Angels fans, and rightly so, because things have not gone well for them for a decade, really. And there's really nothing the team can do, no moves they can make, no statements they can make, no promises they can make that anybody's going to want to hear until they actually win some games. And so I think if they would have hired Albert Pujols for this job, there would have been a lot of people that would have been mad about that too, and just said he hasn't done it, and they just hired him because he's a big name and they're trying to get the attendance, and he's really, what does he know about it? And when they hired Kurt Suzuki, there's people that are going, oh, they're just trying to cheap out and hire somebody that they don't have to pay, who's never done it. So basically anything they were going to do was going to be received negatively, I believe, which is they haven't deserved the benefit of the doubt at this point. After 10 years, they have to actually win some games, and then people will start to kind of let them trust what they're doing, because up to this point, it has not worked for a long time.
And I'm sure Angel fans aren't happy when they see Shohei Ohtani doing what he's doing, up the freeway for the Dodgers, having probably one of the greatest games, or not, the greatest game in baseball history for the Dodgers to get to the World Series. It feels like, Artie Moreno, he's not making many people happy for, Angels fans, but this Shohei stuff here, Jeff, it just, every time you see Shohei do something good for the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are, on the verge of winning another World Series potentially, it just makes the decision or how that thing went down at the very end look just even worse with what Artie Moreno had to deal with, not having Shohei Ohtani, or at least having Shohei Ohtani and not really winning anything with him.
Yeah, I mean, I can't contradict anything that you said. It's certainly frustrating. A lot of fans are upset about it, that they lost Ohtani, and a lot of fans are upset that they didn't trade Ohtani. That they didn't really handle it the way they should have at either juncture, either when they had a chance to trade him or when they could have re-signed him. I mean, they offered the Angels the same deal that he took with the Dodgers, with the deferred money, $700 million, but $2 million a year and defer the rest. And the Angels said, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to defer the money. So, and I think there's a lot of people that believe around the Angels that if the Angels would have matched the Dodgers offer, that he would have stayed with the Angels, which I think would have been crazy on his part, on Ohtani's part, because if he really wants to win, even if he did make this deferral, it still would have been hard for the Angels to do what the Dodgers are doing. So I think it was kind of crazy on both parts, but it's definitely a thing that there's a lot of what if around Ohtani with the Angels.
I'd forgotten that reporting. Say that again, Jeff. So that makes it even more damning. You're saying that Ohtani's reps went to the Angels and said, would you match the $700 million deal with deferrals? And Moreno said no.
Yeah, that's true. So there were basically four teams at the end. It was the Dodgers, Angels, Blue Jays, Giants.
Yeah.
And the other three all said, yeah, we'll do $700 million.
Got you.
10 years, deferring everything. Sure. And the Angels said no. They didn't want to do that because it's just kind of Artie Moreno's policy to not have deferrals, not have a lot of debt, which, I think is a reasonable policy in general. But with a guy like Ohtani, you can pretty comfortably think you're going to make the money back at some point, which is why the other teams were so happy to do it. But that's just the line in the sand that he drew, and that's. And I, honestly, the thought that he would have taking the Angels money over the Dodgers money, I'm a little suspicious of, because if you really want to win,
sure,
even if you're making the same money in both places, the Dodgers are going to give you a better chance to win. So I'm skeptical that even if he would have matched it, that Ohtani wouldn't have just gone with the Dodgers anyway. Maybe that's what the Angels were thinking. I don't know. It's a lot of questions.
No doubt. Just asking your opinion here, Jeff. Again, Jeff Fletcher, OC Register, with us right now on John and Jim. Do you think Albert Pujols gets a manager job this offseason, if it's San Diego or Baltimore? Like, if he wants to manage, do you think an ownership group or a front office will give him that opportunity or not?
I mean, I'm not really sure. I think the Angels were the obvious one because he was already working there and they knew him the best. Any other place, there's going to be kind of a leap of faith to make. And I think that there's going to be a lot of expectations of him if the team is putting its faith in him. And from his standpoint, he certainly doesn't need the money. So he's, if he doesn't get exactly what he wants, he can just say, forget it, I don't want to do it. So it's not like the same as a guy who's just really trying desperately, wants to be a manager and will do whatever it takes. I don't think he's in that situation. So I'm not honestly sure if he is going to get a job.
It's kind of a fascinating story that's playing out right now to begin baseball's off season. Jeff, we appreciate you taking time for us in San Diego as always. Hope you're doing well, and we will do it again soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right. Great stuff. Jeff Fletcher again covers the Angels for the OC Register. It's just a kind of a weird situation. Like, is Albert Pujols going to manage in the major leagues next year?
I think my opinion might be changing a little bit on Albert Pujols
because of what we've heard here today from Farron, who said it was a long shot. Now Jeff Fletcher saying, like, I could never see him speak with the media that often.
Kinda, yeah. Not that I don't want Pujols.
Yeah.
The likelihood of it happening doesn't seem very high. And even if it were to happen, the people that we've talked to so far is like, I don't know. I don't think that makes sense.
Jeff, I covered them, did the beat, travel with them while he was a player for like 7 or 8 of those years.
Right.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
Since like the early 2010s. So like he would have the familiarity of who this man is.
Yeah, like he wants to be a manager and do everything that a manager has to do.
That's what I always say about managing. I mean, me and you work in media, but if you are speaking with the media multiple times a day for 6 consecutive months, that is a very challenging job.
And that's the thing. I don't know anything about Albert Pujols as like
the communicator.
Yeah.
Either do I. He seems very like maybe affable, likable, but I mean, it's one thing to be that way post-playing career or as a player. It's another thing to be that way like when your team's lost 3 straight games.
So what you're saying is maybe we should halt on the give Albert Pujols the job right now?
No, I mean, I still like him more than
Ryan Flaherty.
Someone that's already like in the front office that's like working as a special advisor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's Albert Pujols. And what separates Brian Esposito? Like, why would Brian Esposito be a better candidate?
Well, what I do know is teams are now doing unconventional things.
Look at the Giants.
I mean, the Angels, you could say unconventional, giving a guy a 1-year deal.
Well, they're like, dude, you want to manage?
Yeah, Angels.
Here you go.
Angels are a train wreck. They're
longest playoff drought in baseball.
Yeah, they're a joke. But it just feels like the thing to do now is to be unconventional, because if you aren't, then you're just getting a retread, and it's just like
they played that game with Jace Tingler. It's unconventional.
You're right, and they failed miserably.
You know what I mean? Like,
but at least Albert Pujols isn't. I mean, he's not Jace Tingler. He's
no. But I'm saying, okay, like I don't need to see, just because the Giants hired the Tennessee head coach, I don't need to see them go to like the University of Michigan and be like, well, Michigan was in the College World Series.
No, yeah, I know.
You know, I mean, maybe it'll work for the Giants. Good on them and Buster Posey. But I think there's a time for unconventional. Right now, I'd almost like double down on conventional, maybe, because you've had success at the major league level.
Yeah.
You want to sustain it.
I don't even know where they're leaning.
No, I don't even know if they know where they're leaning.
I mean, a couple of the names that we've heard, it's like, okay, well, first-time manager. There's really not many retreads out there other than Boch. And I wouldn't even consider Boch a retread.
I mean, there's no way it would happen, but like Buddy.
Oh, Bud Black, no.
I mean, it wouldn't happen.
Like Buck Showalter.
Like, just again, like
Joe Madden.
A seasoned veteran, which is basically the last 2 manager choices.
Right.
and it's worked to some extent. Is there a next step manager? Good luck. I mean, I'm sure there is someone, but is that a Pujols? Is it someone else?
You know what I do like though is the manager that was a former player.
Right.
I think that's what I'm drawn towards. Now Mike Schilt kind of bucked that trend because the dude never played. And I mean, it's hard to say it wasn't successful to an extent.
And he was liked by his players.
He was hated by coaching staff.
Apparently, yes.
And the media.
Yeah, that's true.
He was liked by his players.
Yep.
But I do appreciate and I like a former player. Now, I don't know much about the Toronto Blue Jays. Is John Schneider a former player, their manager?
I believe he is. Let's find out. I believe he is. Playing career. Yes. He's a former player.
Okay.
Now, did he play in the major leagues? Are you asking me? No.
Okay.
But he was a former professional baseball player. Spent a good amount of time in the minor leagues.
Okay. But he never played in the bigs.
Which is a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys. Or like you said earlier, like kind of like utility type players, backup catchers.
Yeah. Alex Cora is a guy that comes to mind. He wasn't like this big time player, but he was pretty decent.
Right.
Dave Roberts.
Yep.
Decent.
Yep.
But you're not seeing like, hey,
we're not seeing Bryce Harper's first move traditionally to be to manage.
No, because
or Manny Machado,
the star players, the sport demands so much of them that they're like, I can't do it anymore.
And they've also been paid off. If you made $300, $400, $500 million, now you want to go manage?
No, I'd want to go play golf
exactly.
every single day.
All right, more on this on the other side. Plus, getting you ready for San Diego State and Fresno State, a huge one in the Mountain West on Saturday at 12:30. Right here on San Diego Sports 760, we'll connect with the voice of the Fresno State Bulldogs, Paul Leffler, at 5:30. This is John and Jim. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Paul Loeffler, voice of the Fresno State Bulldogs, will join us coming up in about 10 minutes. San Diego State, Fresno State, Saturday at 12:30. Pregame coverage will begin at 10:30 in the morning. By the way, Ben Fletcher will be in Las Vegas tomorrow.
Oh,
must be nice.
It
because
must be nice.
Mountain West Basketball Media Day is tomorrow.
Oh,
now I've typically been there. You've typically been there. We've had some things come up.
Yeah.
But Fletch will be there. So we'll hear from Fletch. We'll hear from like Dutch and Miles Bird will be there. Reese Dixon Waters. Listen, the Aztecs will see the official preseason poll tomorrow. If they're not picked first, it'll be utterly shocking if they're not the preseason favorite.
Who else would be?
There's good teams. Utah State, Boise State, Grand Canyon are good teams.
I will.
What will you do? Will you swim the Pacific?
I'll enter a triathlon.
Oh, I like this. You will enter a triathlon if San Diego State's not the preseason favorite to win the Mountain West Conference.
All right, let's take that back a little bit.
No, you will enter a triathlon.
Sure.
Do you know what that even means?
Not really.
3 things.
I know.
You have to
swim,
run far, and bike
far.
far. You can't do that, but I like that.
I would bend over and die if I had to do that. Like, not even
the triathlon.
Yeah. Like,
you would legit die.
Like I would start running and I'd be like, okay, this is fine. And then after you're done running, I would swim and then I would get to a point where I would just like sink and drown and die.
What is the furthest you've run? Like, you know what I mean? Have you done a competitive
like consecutively?
Yeah, like have you done like a 5K in your life?
No chance.
You've never done a 5K and you want to do a triathlon?
No, I don't want to do a triathlon.
Let's see what a triathlon entails because you would die.
I would die.
Literally die.
Bro, I hate running.
Here's what it is.
I can't remember last time I rode a bicycle.
It's honestly not that bad now that I look at it.
Oh, really?
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's awful. It's like 15 miles
Olympic
running.
Okay, 1.5 kilometer swim. That sounds impossible.
I'd be dead.
40 kilometer bike. So you're biking a good 30 miles.
Done.
And then 10K run. Nice 6.5, 7 miles.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Now, if you want to do an Ironman, you're doing a 4K swim. You're doing 180 kilometers on the bike or, 140 miles or so. And then you're doing a marathon run. You better hope San Diego State's pick number 1 tomorrow.
I better hope so.
Because I'm playing back that audio.
That's just how confident I am, John.
I think you should be, truthfully. They'll be the preseason favorite. So that's tomorrow. In addition, this weekend, San Diego State football. We'll talk more with Paul Loeffler coming up in a moment.
We haven't even talked about San Diego State football because we haven't had a chance to because we haven't been together.
Exactly. The Aztecs are 5-1. Fresno State is 5-2. This is a massive game in this long-time series, this rivalry. Like the winner has a decent path to a Mountain West championship game. Now, Fresno State's got a conference loss. San Diego State does not. But I think it's fair to say the winner has I don't know if inside track's the right word. I think if it's San Diego State, they have an inside track. They'd be 3-0 in the league, 6-1 overall if they can win on Saturday.
What's their schedule off the top there?
It's not easy. I mean, they still have Boise at home. They still have to go to Hawaii. Hawaii's been very good. Still have to go to New Mexico. But I think it's manageable. If you get to 6-1, you're going to be favored in a lot of those games.
Yeah.
But it's an if.
It's an if.
But you got to get to 6-1.
I said that I needed to see what they did. I needed to see what they could do in the Nevada game.
Right.
And they exceeded all expectations.
Yeah.
Now, can they back that up with another solid road performance? Or was their performance on the road against Nevada an outlier on the road? Are they going to go back to playing closer to what they look like versus Washington State and NIU? Especially offensively. Defensively, their defense travels. It's the Washington State game. It wasn't great, but it was a snowball effect.
Yep.
But every other game had been great. But can their offense do closer to what they did versus Nevada on the road? Or are they going to look like what they look like against NIU and Washington State? That's a question.
It's a fascinating game. Fresno at home, coming off a loss.
And it's for the old oil can.
It's for the oil can. Both teams coming off buys. Fresno State hasn't played in 15 days.
Now, Fresno State got their butts kicked by Colorado State.
Slaughtered.
And Colorado State just fired their head coach
the next week.
So,
it's a
what team is Fresno State?
No idea. We'll find out Saturday. Paul Loeffler covers the Bulldogs. He's the voice of the Bulldogs Well, join us next. This is San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. News in baseball today. The Giants hired former Tennessee Vols head coach Tony Vitello to be their next manager. The Angels announced Kurt Suzuki as their new manager, signing him to a one-year deal. And in NFL, Jaden Daniels, he's already been ruled out this weekend. The Commanders versus the Chiefs. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $125 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends November 1st. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
All right, we're hoping to connect with Paul Leffler. He has been calling games for the Fresno State Bulldogs, San Diego State, Fresno State, blackout in the Central Valley. 12:30 start time on Saturday. You can hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760. So hopefully we can connect with Paul. Again, Ben Fletcher will be in Vegas tomorrow. We'll be talking some Mountain West hoops tomorrow. You'll hear from Brian Dutcher, Reese Dixon Waters, Miles Bird, all of that ahead tomorrow on 760.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you're an Aztec fan, it's a good time of year with the way football's playing, with basketball starting officially November 4th. What's today? So you're about 12, 13 days out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right here.
It is right here.
I mean, like not right here, but like almost right here.
Week and a half to...
Yeah, we can have 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Who's playing tomorrow in the NFL?
Tomorrow?
Don't look.
Thursday Night Football. Hold on.
Yeah, it is Thursday Night Football.
I know.
Wait a second. Is that game?
Oh, you just gave it away.
Thanks.
Half of it.
It's not on this station?
No. Sean Lewis coaches show's on.
That's right, it is.
Damn right.
That's right, it is. Yeah, but we could do the Sean Lewis show from like 4 to 5, and then we could do Jim's favorite team beginning at 5:15.
It's the Chargers.
Chargers at home.
Chargers
home.
Chargers versus I have no.
Yeah, who do you think? It's like a
Is it
it's
semi
like a
good?
real game. Yeah, it's a yes.
I know who it is.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, say it.
Chargers Vikings.
Yeah, it's a real game, right?
Yeah. Well, define real.
I mean, you know.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I got you. Yes. But I mean, it's not like as far as Thursdays go, I feel like that's a fair matchup.
I mean, the entire stadium will be purple.
Correct.
And what an embarrassment.
Because the Chargers are wearing their purple alternates?
No, because the Chargers are trying to go old school and bring back the navy blue San Diego.
Is that what they're doing this
Supercharger
Thursday?
jerseys.
This one?
Yeah. Thursday Night Football, they're bringing back their navy blue.
That's right.
Supercharger jerseys. Remembering the history of San Diego, even though they're in LA, like screw you. And they're going to have an entire stadium full of Vikings fans. Vikings fans.
Their Twitter page is all supercharged up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Legacy lives on. That's what they're saying.
Oh, what legacy? You killed it.
They're a San Diego legacy.
Dean killed that legacy the second he moved to LA. What an embarrassment of a franchise.
Why would you say that? Look at this.
I know. I'll
say one thing.
I know their marketing is really,
their
really
marketing
good.
is good, and the look has always been good. It's a good look.
And what's it done for them? Nothing.
Well, they haven't yet won. They haven't gotten over the hump.
Well, even if they did win, guess what?
Yeah,
that entire stadium is like not going to support. No one cares about.
What do you think an AFC Chargers? What do you think an AFC title game, Chiefs Chargers in LA would look like?
All red.
You think?
Yeah,
me too. What scenario would it not be? Jags Chargers AFC title game? Like, what would it take? Titans Chargers for it to be like Chargers? I mean, I don't know if it'd be all Chargers fans, but not to be overtaken by the color of the other team.
I think the Jags,
a team that wears their colors.
Preseason scrimmage.
Yeah,
Jags is a good.
Jags
one.
I feel like Titans is a decent one. Titans isn't happening.
Titans. I'm trying to think.
Right. Like every other team, like Steelers, bye-bye. Bengals, bye-bye. Yeah. Right? There's so many examples of like you got no
Chiefs,
shot.
bye-bye. Raiders, bye-bye.
Yeah,
Broncos, bye-bye.
Exactly.
Ravens, bye-bye.
All right, we can get back to it. There's
Jets,
always time.
bye-bye.
There's always
Dolphins,
time to bash
bye-bye.
the Chargers.
Bills, bye-bye.
There's always time.
Yeah.
All right, Paul Leffler, voice of the Fresno State Bulldogs, back with us here, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We're just touching on this. Paul, obviously, this game on Saturday is a really big game for the Bulldogs and the Aztecs. You could argue the winner probably has a pretty inside track or a potential track to the Mountain West title game. What are your expectations for Saturday? Both teams coming off byes. Fresno obviously didn't play well their last time out. How do you expect Saturday to look when these two teams get together? And thanks for hopping on.
Well, hopefully it looks not too hot because it's a 12:30 kickoff, and hopefully no rain. But I know one thing that will be happening is they're going to be blackout jerseys, so they're kind of stealing the Aztecs colors, if you will. But this is huge. I mean, pivotal for both squads
what a key cog in the race to potentially a Mountain West title appearance for one of these two schools.
So coming off a bye week, previously Fresno State, did not play well against Colorado State. What happened in that game? And going into this bye week now for Fresno State, it just felt like Fresno State was one of the teams to look at in the Mountain West Conference, and they put up a clunker against Colorado State.
And that's being kind, to call it a clunker. They didn't show up, right? I mean, I think you can make excuses. You can say, hey, it was a short week on a Friday night. It was their first altitude game with a new staff and a lot of players who haven't been a part of that. But the offense didn't show up. The defense didn't show up. There were some curious coaching decisions. It didn't go the way they planned. So they have a lot to answer the bell for against the Aztecs.
Paul Loeffler with us right now. He calls games for the Fresno State Bulldogs. Tell us about the quarterback, E.J. Warner, the son of the Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. I want to say the FBS active leader in career passing yards. You look at his numbers this year, it looks like he's completing a high percentage of his passes, but he's also thrown 9 interceptions. So what's gone well and what hasn't for E.J. Warner?
When it's gone well, it's gone really well. When it's not gone well, it's really not gone well. The interceptions have kind of come in bunches. He had a real clean stretch there during the 5-game win streak where he was starting to play really well. And I think what really stood out was how he came through with the game on the line. If you look at their wins at Oregon State and Hawaii, 2 road wins that could have easily gone the other way, he made plays late to help secure those wins. And against Nevada, when they got out to a 20-3 lead, saw that lead all but evaporate at the end of the game, trying to put it away. He's facing a 3rd and 11, or they're going to give Nevada the ball back with a chance to win it. And he's able to scramble for 11 yards on 3rd and long, pick up the first down. They end up running out the clock with basically a 9-minute drive. And, he did exactly what was needed in the situation. So I think what stands out is that he's been able to rise to the occasion in the biggest moments and make big plays when they've had close games. The 2 losses have been games where they got down early, were never really seriously in contention for a victory. So, what are we going to see against the Aztecs? Does Fresno State get off to a good start? Does EJ have the opportunity to make those kind of game-winning plays? We'll see. And the other thing is, if he can't stretch the field, then defenses have been really aggressive against the run game. I think that's been the common denominator of late. That, they've sent a lot of people into the backfield. There have been some blocking issues. Fresno State's rotated a lot of backs. Several guys have been effective in spurts, but we haven't seen a consistent run game that you can really count on for a while.
What do you make of what San Diego State is doing right now? 5-1 on the year. Their offense, Aztec fast is the motto here in San Diego. Their defense especially has been fantastic. What stood out with you so far for the Aztecs this year?
Well, I'm not surprised by the defense because that's been such a hallmark of the program. I know it's a new coach, and I was impressed talking to Coach Lewis at Media Days this year. He believes in what he does. He's been able to recruit to the system. The defense hasn't surprised me. What's really, I think, surprised me, probably a lot of Aztec fans too, is the explosive ability of this offense. Because I think it's been quite a while since, Aztec fans have seen that. I mean, there have been some great rushers over the years, right? Some phenomenal backs, and you know them all. But we haven't seen the potency in the pass game, I think, for a while. And you certainly haven't seen the dual threat at quarterback the way Aztec fans are enjoying it right now. So I think this is a tougher team to deal with, a more versatile team to deal with. It's a rivalry game with the trophy on the line. And in my mind, who gets off to a better start is going to make a big difference because the Aztecs have proven they can win in a multitude of ways. We've seen the blowout victories, and they grind one out against the Huskies of Northern Illinois. It's a team that has a lot of momentum right now. More than Fresno State has, certainly. The Dogs felt like they had some momentum going, but that Colorado State game was an aberration. At least they hope so. So coming off the bye week, how are they feeling? Are they healthy? Can the defense get back to what the defense was doing before that Colorado State game? You look at the 2 games before that, Fresno State took the ball away 4 times in each of those wins. In the Colorado State game, they gave it away 4 times. And you know how the math works with that. I mean, that's a big difference. So I think that's going to be another thing is, who's winning that turnover battle on Saturday? What's the team that can create extra opportunities by taking the ball away? And Fresno State, for the most part this year, has done a really good job of that. They've just been a little too generous in giving it away as well.
Paul Loeffler again will be on the call for Fresno State. Aztecs and Bulldogs coming up on Saturday at 12:30. How much of a factor is just playing at home for Fresno State in general? I mean, it matters for everyone in college football, but how much of a factor is it for Fresno?
Well, I think it matters a lot for Fresno State, and they haven't lost at home this year. You look at the last 2 seasons, and Fresno State led the nation outside of the power conferences in attendance. So the red wave, as the fan base is called here, has been a big factor in creating a hostile environment. You know, with the earlier kickoff, we'll see, but this has a chance to be the first sellout of the season. And it's also coinciding with Jeff Tedford being inducted into Fresno State's Ring of Honor. So his name will go up on the wall with guys like Jim Sweeney and Pat Hill and the Carr brothers, Trent Dilfer, Henry Ellard, some all-time greats. And, you know, I think that's kind of fitting that it's the Aztecs, because there were some pretty memorable battles when Coach Tedford was the head coach against San Diego State, including that comeback that's still kind of hard for me to believe it took place in 2022. Yeah, right?
That thing was insane.
Yeah, it was
crazy. As you know, Paul, I wasn't there, but in watching, that game flipped on a muffed punt return, right? That's how I remember it.
Well, that was there was a factor there, but then, you know, at the end, Fresno State scored 15 points in 13 seconds.
Yeah, I remember the onside kick, but even before that game was sealed. I'm telling you, we have to watch it back.
Yeah.
If not, I forget.
I think you're right.
That punt, I'm saying that punt return, because Fresno State came up with it maybe deep in San Diego State's end, like inside the 10-yard line, punched it in, I'm making it up, and made like a 19-point game, a 12-point game, or like a 22-point game, a 15-point game. And it gave Fresno State the momentum that they would need there down the stretch. That was a wild, wild game. Paul, appreciate you taking time for us here in San Diego. I will see you on Saturday, and thanks for joining us here in San Diego. Let
me know if you want raisins, almonds, dried apricots. I mean, we grow it all up here in the great San Joaquin Valley.
You're speaking his language right now.
I'm Mr. like whatever is like vegan.
Yeah, give him some dried
raisins.
Apricots.
Dried apricots. Are you serious? No, not too much. That can hurt your stomach. But
my gosh,
I'm down. Thanks, Paul.
Not just any dried apricots, like the best dried apricots in the history of the world.
Let's go.
So I'll let you be the judge on Saturday.
I need them all. Thank you, Paul. I'm looking forward to that. All right, now I'm excited. All right, Paul Loeffler calls.
Give him
games.
dried apricots, and he's a happy camper.
5-1 San Diego State, 5-2 Fresno State. Oh, dried apricots. Let's
go. Dried apricots. I'm all in.
I'll play this game at midnight.
Yeah, let's do this.
Apricots.
150 degrees. No, I'm good.
Don't bury the lead like that, Paul.
I know. Should have led with apricots.
I know about the raisins, but the apricots.
How about dried apricots and raisins?
And almonds? Now, almonds are not a great broadcast food.
No, you've said that before. They're not good. No.
Right?
Nuts are not good in your mouth.
Jim's back page next.
Dang it.
All right, SDFC Midweek Live. Darren Smith, Adrian Garcia Marquez will join us. 6 p.m., 1 full hour. Postseason is here.
Postseason is here. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Literally, it's underway in the Eastern Conference, I think, tonight. Because there's Eastern Conference and Western Conference. That's right. I think the Eastern Conference match is being played.
Yeah, that's correct.
Let me get some MLS scores. Hold on. Yeah, Chicago and Orlando. Scoreless just underway. And then later, Salt Lake and Portland at 7:30.
Must be nice.
Yeah. Now, this is win or go home. This is like the one-game wild card in baseball.
Yep.
Win or go home.
Winner moves on to take on SDFC.
Yeah, between Portland and Salt Lake.
Right. And that will happen on Sunday, 6:30 match, 6 o'clock pregame. You can listen to all that right here on San Diego Sports 760.
How are we handicapping tonight? Salt Lake, Portland. Salt Lake at home. Salt Lake the favorite at home? And Portland just got shut out at home by San Diego. 4-0. Yeah, I say Salt Lake finds a way.
I think Portland actually finds.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm gonna go with Portland.
Portland minus the points. You'll lay the 6.5.
Portland minus the points. Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, let's get to it.
Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola are once again, John, teaming up to give fans a flavorful twist on their iconic cocktail.
Jack and Coke.
The two brands have officially brought back the Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola vanilla canned cocktail. Limited edition releases the blends that with the classic whiskey and cola mix with a smooth hint of vanilla.
I like vanilla.
I think that would be disgusting.
Really? A quick aside. Do you like vanilla? Do you like white chocolate?
If I had to rank my chocolates
between dark, milk, white,
yeah.
How would you rank it?
In my now age of life, 36 years old, I'm going dark chocolate.
Wait, the rankings have shifted from milk to dark? Dark, I would 100% go dark.
Milk has always been my number one until a few years ago.
Dark overtook milk?
Dark 100%.
The voters voted for dark?
The voters voted for dark. Dark
Brandon's
chocolate,
shaking his head.
Milk chocolate, and then white chocolate.
I was recently at Hershey, and I want to say 80% of chocolate sales are milk. Makes sense, right?
Milks, everybody likes them. I don't
milk and throw the other two away.
You like milk? No, here's the thing. I like white chocolate.
Have you had good dark chocolate though, Brent?
I don't think such a thing exists.
Well, here's the problem with dark chocolate, though. I like dark chocolate too, but when you start getting to that high percentage of whatever, like when it says,
I agree.
That's a tough eat.
So we go to Trader Joe's and we get these,
like the bars,
dark chocolate bark, which
that's good.
Which is dark chocolate. I think I've given you some before.
Yeah, I've had. It's good.
Dark chocolate with like pretzels and sea salt.
Yeah, see, but that's kind of cheating because you're putting more in there.
Still dark chocolate. I guarantee you, Brent, if you tried this dark chocolate bar, I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Depends how dark. Because I'm with, if it gets too much of a percentage.
No. I know. And
you know what I mean, though?
And did you have like a bad experience with dark chocolate before?
No, I just think it's bitter. And
I'd
rather take milk chocolate.
That's the thing is you've probably had
the high percentage,
like a high percent
or whatever,
dark chocolate bitter. And I get it. There are forms of dark chocolate that are
that
so bitter. Yeah. I'm like, no. But dark chocolate for me.
What else do you have?
Is on the top of that list. Taco Bell.
They have dark chocolate?
No, they don't.
Okay.
Is now testing out a new menu item that potentially could go nationwide very soon.
Okay.
If I were to ask you, Brent, what is like the number one selling item at Taco Bell, or one of the biggest items they have at Taco Bell?
Taco?
Probably Baja Blast, because they keep making it into everything.
No, the food.
Oh,
item.
for food?
Yeah. It's an item. Food item.
Maybe the Doritos Locos taco.
What about the Crunch Wrap? Crunch Wrap, it's up there. If you don't like it, Crunch Wrap.
Really?
Yeah, I think
maybe a Gordita.
I think the Crunch Wrap is definitely up there as like one of Taco Bell's like popular items. So Taco Bell is now testing a new crispy chicken Crunchwrap slider.
Crispy chicken.
Taco Bell has begun testing its latest menu innovation, the Crispy Chicken Crunchwrap slider, in select U.S. markets to potentially go nationwide later next year.
Wow.
I think that'd be a home run.
Oh, no pun intended? Like, you mean like the baseball analogy, like how baseball is home runs? Because we're a sports show.
Yeah, I get it,
John. I like it.
I get it, John.
That's neat.
John, would you buy?
No.
Okay.
What is it?
It's a card.
Oh, yeah. What kind? Sports card?
2024 Prism Black Curry and LeBron James Color Blast Duel.
Someone pulled this, right?
A mint PSA 9.
How much is that?
Right now, $1.5 million.
Come on. Really?
Yeah.
From the last year? 2024, 2025?
Yeah.
1.5 million. Is it signed?
It's not signed.
Wow. Curry with LeBron.
Curry with LeBron. It's an NBA. It's a 2024 Prism Black. It looks like it's a 1 of 1 too.
Are you bidding?
It's no, I'm not bidding. I'm not bidding on that, but
oh, you're not a LeBron guy.
No, but I would get this card.
You would get this card.
I don't know.
Like, if you took that card, would you keep it or would you sell it?
Sell it.
Yeah, I'm selling that.
Second.
Well, I'd sell anything for $1.5 million by and large. Sorry, Jones.
Sorry.
All right. If you missed anything today, SDFC Midweek Live on the other side with Adrian Garcia Marquez and Darren Smith. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes or Spotify. We are back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Coverage of Mountain West Basketball Media Day and more, getting you ready for San Diego State football. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here. SDFC Midweek Live coming up next. Bye. Bye.